Howdy, howdy. We are live on a Friday night. And for the first time in a long time, I can say, hey, there were new episodes of Star Trek this week. So we have some new Trek to talk about. And it's not a Section 31 made for streaming movie. So I'm very excited to get started. It's going to be a long ass show. We have two
Yes.
big episodes to talk about. So because we have so much to discuss, let's go ahead and get this shit started. I'm Fathery,
I'm Joel.
I'm Miss Taylor.
and this is Tex-Trek.
Engage.
Welcome back aboard the Starship Texas for the 339th installment of the Tex-Trek podcast, the home of Star Trek fandom from deep in the heart of Texas, where we take a deep look at Star Trek, old and new. Tonight, we are talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2. Episode 1 being Hegemony Part 2, written by Davy Perez and Henry Alonzo Myers, directed by Chris Fisher, and Season 3, Episode 2, Wedding Bell Blues, written by Kirsten Beyer and David Reed, and directed by Jordan Koenig. We had yet another new season of new Star Trek, dropping 2 episodes on day 1. So I just assume this is going to be the model going forward for the remaining, 2 more seasons? Yeah, 2 more seasons of this show, then the 2 seasons of the Academy show that we know we're getting, so.
I hope they don't do it on the fifth season.
Yeah, maybe on that one they'll space
Because they
them
might be
out,
long. There's the rumor that they'll be long. So hopefully that's just one. Because if there are 2 movie-length ones, they'll kill us.
Well, yeah, they might. I think at least like that final episode might be. I bet that final episode is over an hour. We'll find out in 2027, I guess. So.
Yep, write
still a
that
ways
down
off.
in your little notebook.
But in the meantime, we do have 2 episodes now to talk about. I just want to point out that we know that there's going to be, in addition to this 10-episode season, we're going to get the 10-episode season 4, then the 6-episode season 5. So just kind of a bittersweet moment. But next week, when we get to season 3, episode 3, that will be the 23rd episode of Strange New Worlds out of 46 total. I'm still mad they don't do one more, just make it 47 total, but
Just like a little 5-minute one. Come on. Slip it in there. They can still do it. Slip it in there.
but the next episode will be the halfway point of the
Yeah.
show. So we're still in the first half of Strange New Worlds for these 2, and then next week, but then after that, it's we're on the other side of the hill. So just something I think is kind of fun to think about. But before we get started unpacking these 2 episodes, I need to give a big thank you and shout out to the wonderful people in the Tex-Trek Patreon. Thank you so much to our patrons: Starfleet Sohel, Kigas Eternal, Crazy Dutchy, Joanne Robertson, John Daw, Geek Filter, Quarks Bar, Stephanie Durantas, Matthew Averett, Braxton, Chuck A, Joel Vallis, Benjinium, Arthur Lamoureux, our associate producer Chris Garris, Dave Farabee, Dave A. Gregory, and our anonymous supporters. We do like to celebrate with our patrons once a month in the Patreon Watch Party. We're doing one tomorrow, actually. If you are watching us live on Friday night, you are in luck.
Yep.
Because if you're a patron, or if you become one in the next less than 24 hours, you'll be able to attend our July Patreon watch party. We're going to be watching Best of Both Worlds, parts 1 and 2. So it'll be a double feature tomorrow as well. But
Compare and contrast, yeah.
I did not know just how
Apropos that would
great
be.
that was going to be. Yeah, like that really does seem appropriate to compare and contrast with Hegemony. But
Yeah, I think we just thought cliffhangers, right, at first? And
yeah,
then,
yeah. I mean, like this was that best of both worlds style ending. The reason why
Yeah.
I say that is because that was the first time Star Trek did it, and then the
Yeah.
rest of the Berman era did that a lot. Like every season of TNG ended with a cliffhanger after that. Half the ones in Voyager did as well. DS9 didn't really do that, but they would kind of have something similar. They would kind of be like, "Oh, here's like a new threat that we'll deal with next season." So, yeah, it was like a tradition started with Best of Both Worlds. So, why not go back to the original now that they're doing it again for the first time in the modern Trek era? I guess what we'll call the Kurtzman Trek era,
Yeah.
historically. So, but yeah, this episode of Hegemony Part Two borrowed a lot from Best of Both Worlds. So we'll get into that in just one moment. But just a reminder that we'll be tomorrow, Saturday, July 19th at 3:30 p.m. And it's open to all of the Tex-Trek Patreon supporters. You can come in as little as $2 a month. And if you can afford to be more generous, there are some additional perks as well. But just a reminder to everyone also, things that are coming up in the near future. We are approaching August, and August 6th through the 10th is STLV. I almost said Star Trek Las Vegas, which I guess is like technically not the name of the con, but the letters still are STLV.
We call it,
but yeah,
but
I'm
for
looking
legal
forward.
reasons.
Taylor, this will be your first STLV appearance, so
It will.
I'm really excited. What are you most anticipating of this convention? I've been talking about it to you for for almost years at this point.
Yeah, I think really just the size of it. I don't think I can really comprehend like how big it is. I guess like the biggest one I've been to so far is San Francisco, maybe. Maybe.
It's way bigger
I think
than that.
so. So I think I'm having a hard time because we look through the list and it's like hundreds and hundreds of people like going, and I'm just like, how are we gonna fit all that in a couple days?
They did release a 5-day con, so
yeah.
The English Trexpert stage released their schedule, so that was interesting.
I'm really excited for like the panels and stuff, and I'm a little nervous about panels I want to go to overlapping. So I'm gonna have to.
It is unfortunately a thing.
Yeah. That's not the worst problem to have, to be like, oh my god, there is so much cool shit to do. Yeah. I can't do it all. So
there's at least we know each other, so we could like, split up and then report back to each other. We can do that at least. If you're alone, then but. Hey, have you watched the other Tex-Trek episodes with recaps? I know you haven't watched all of
Tex-Trek. Like we did some STLV recaps.
Oh yeah.
So because those are kind of fun. Yeah, because Starfleet Sohel always I
don't know if Taylor's actually seen or listened to any of that stuff. So
you should listen to one. Just pick last year or something.
Yeah, I haven't seen like the Tex-Trek ones, but I've seen like the 3-minute little commercial kind of thing that they put on from like the convention itself.
Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
We'll still get the show out that week too. I think that's when it'll be Strange New World season 3 episode 5, I believe. But we'll still have a show out that week, so don't worry. But yeah, and also Rachel, who's currently hosting our first reaction streams on Thursday nights, will also be there. So a big Tex-Trek crew showing up. Very excited, very looking forward to it. I should also mention, by the way, I know I promised Dave would appear tonight to discuss these first 2 episodes of Strange New World Season 3. He wasn't able to make it. I think he's okay with me saying why, but he's currently like moving houses, so
it's a good reason.
It's busy with that. So he does say that he would like to show up at some point in season 3, just couldn't do these first 2 episodes. He also said he didn't really like these 2 that much, so that might have been part of the lack of enthusiasm. He said he didn't say he hated them. He just said like he wasn't like super enthused to talk about either. So we get it.
He said he has to prioritize, and these 2 episodes were not as cool as he wanted them to be to make it a priority.
Which I can
only the Gorn were silver-eyed. He would have.
And when I say He said that was a joke. I'm putting words in his mouth.
He's not here, so we can do that.
Instead of making up Dave's opinions on these episodes, we could just discuss our actual opinion, or we could just make shit up and just say
we
things
just
we
miss
don't
Dave.
even believe. Like, we do, but he'll be around before the end of the season, so don't worry. But yeah, let's get started on Hegemony Part Two. I'm gonna quickly recap it by reading the synopsis, and then I'll kind of expand on that with spoilers. But the synopsis reads: Pike leads a risky rescue behind enemy lines as the landing party flees a deadly enemy. And yes, that enemy is the Gorn. But Pike goes across the demarcation line that the Gorn draw on that image they sent in Hegemony Part 1, if y'all remember what happened 2 years ago, back in the Season 2 finale. But yeah, Pike goes into Gorn space, I guess for the first time ever from a Starfleet perspective, at least that we know of, goes into deadly enemy territory to rescue the colonists who were Gorn abducted, as well as the landing party of Lon, Sam, Mbenga, and Ortega's. Luckily, not only do they get everyone beamed back to Enterprise, but they also figure out a way to make the Starlight do weird stuff to make all the Gorn take a nap, presumably until they wake up and attack Cestus 3 in Arena, I guess. That's what we're doing there. Also, other good news, Spock and Chapel seemingly cure Batel of her Gorn infection, and she's no longer pregnant with Gorn babies that she was worried would pop out and eat everyone. So another win on that front. Yeah, if you want to, you know what? I'll just give the first opening statement. But okay. People have heard me complain about the Gorn in Strange New Worlds a lot. You know, like I talk about, I love this show. I often say it's probably my favorite of the modern Star Trek era. Although Lower Decks and Prodigy, really great. But the one thing that Strange New Worlds to me like has never been able to do right for me is the Gorn. Well, that's not true. I kind of liked Memento Mori, but when the Gorn started acting like Jurassic Park velociraptors, I was not into it. I didn't really like the design. I don't like the stuff they borrow from the Alien movies that everyone has complained about. So I went in this episode assuming I wouldn't like it that much. Spoiler alert, I didn't like it that much. I'm not mad about it, though. I was kind of expecting to be a little underwhelmed and not impressed with it. There were moments that I really liked, though. There were some strong acting beats that were like the actors are really carrying some shoddy writing. There was some interesting visuals. Some of it rubbed me the wrong way. Some of it, though, I thought was like pretty neat. And like, oh yeah, like that's not what I want Gorn to look like, but that shot's kind of cool, you know? So I'll give it to that. But my absolute favorite part of this episode, and I know this is a controversial one, so people's mileage will vary. My favorite part of this episode is the Chapel Spock stuff. Every scene with Ethan Peck and Just Bush in it, I pretty much adored. I am so invested in that doomed romance, and I liked having my my heart be just grinded up for not only this episode but also like in the second episode. But yeah, like I really connected to those moments. I thought they were well performed, and I eat that stuff up. I know it's very much like soap opera trash, but you know what? I'm here for it. But I'll shut up. Joel, tell us what you thought of Hegemony Part 2.
Yeah, I liked Part 1 from the end of last season, but it wasn't nowhere near the top of the last season. So I was unsure how this was going to come out, but I ended up liking it more than Part 1. And there are some strange things in this that seem to be like they just didn't mention, or there's vast weirdness about an empire that goes to sleep for a while. I mean, hopefully we'll find out about that later. That could be interesting world building, but it's not in this episode. Nor did they have room. But yeah, but there's so many great things. There's some really good shots. There's some amazing stuff with all the suns, and then the acting is great, and Jess Bush does great with Chapel and Spock, but also with just like the stuff with Chapel and Batel before she goes under is pretty amazing. It's very short, but there's a lot of stuff. And then there seems to be a lot of more than normal. I mean, the Gorn are always kind of HR Giger's Gorn, but we seem to get even more different other sci-fi stuff thrown into this one than we normally do. So it's kind of interesting. A lot of it looks great, and but I would say it's a mixed bag, but it ends up, very good mixed bag. So, what do you think, Miss Taylor?
I kind of feel like the first time I saw it, I didn't know what happened like the majority of the time. But to be fair, I wasn't watching closed captioning, and that really pulls my understanding of an episode. There was like a lot of techno babble that I really struggled with in this, and like a lot of their problem solving was like really fast paced, which I think is good, and it has like that high stakes and the suspense and stuff, but it made it a little hard for me to follow just because I couldn't keep up with the dialogue. But there were some things I really loved. I really loved Pelia and Scotty's interaction. Like all of theirs was really fun. I loved getting like the sassy teacher Pelia or Professor Pelia with really bad student Scotty, who's like really smart but skipping class, and it's so tropey, but I like what they're doing with it. And I love the pressure that Pelia puts on Scotty, because she knows like that's how he's going to get things through. So I liked seeing a lot of that dynamic, and seeing Scotty on the bridge like explain stuff to Captain Pike. I thought that was all really well done and really fun. I'm not really here for like the Spock and Chapel drama, but I did like them working together on helping Batel. Like I thought that was a cool thing for Spock to be able to step up and help in the sick bay. But yeah, some of it was just kind of, I didn't think anything really on the Gorn ship was pretty cool. Like I love the Gorn ship being an organic ship that's like digesting people. I think that's actually pretty cool. I really am into like the organic ship thing.
You said
very Lex.
You didn't want to have to look at it though, right?
I didn't. It was very gross, but that's okay. But I thought that all of the stuff on the Gorn ship kind of ran together and was very the same. Like every time we cut back, it just felt like the same. Like nothing really happened. Like anytime there was like action or a movement, it was off screen. Like they had a Gorn attack, and then they like cut away from it, and then they like cut back later, and they're like, oh, I think that's the last of them. Like there was no action, and so it really just felt like they were walking around the ship the whole time trying to figure out how to get off the ship, and it just seemed kind of convenient and, I don't know, a little far-fetched to me, the way that they kind of get off. But
there were a lot of plot conveniences that we'll point out.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it was an okay episode. I wasn't blown away by any of it, so.
Well, let's get into our episode breakdown then, and we'll start at the very beginning and run through this whole thing beat by beat. We might move a little faster than usual because we have another episode to talk about after this, but we open, we get like that standard recap previously on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and then like the fun thing they did is that they added Anson Mount saying, and now the conclusion. That Berman era thing. It was normally Majel until you got to Star Trek Enterprise, where their computer didn't talk. But I kind of wish they got Alex Kapp, their Strange New Worlds computer voice actor.
Oh,
I kind of wish they got her to do it.
I was going to say Jess Bush, but that'd be fun too.
But yeah, it was kind of fun to hear and now the conclusion, because they normally don't. That was the only time they've done that on one of these recaps on Strange New Worlds, I believe. But yeah, so we waited 2 years to hear Pike's answer. The crew on the bridge, they're asking him, what are you going to do? We just got these orders from April to retreat, but the Gorn ships are attacking, and they beamed up all those colonists and some of our crew members. And it turns out after 2 years of waiting, Pike just says, wait a minute, April said to retreat and regroup, but he didn't say when, so I'll do it, but not right now.
Grammar saves the day.
We get some ramming speed. We get Captain Pike, he just asks for options, and he's like, no, that idea sucks. Then he finally hears one that he likes. It was Una's idea was to ram the ship, right? But she's also the one no. She has the idea to use the deflector because now that they know that the Gorn communicate with visual light, it's like, oh, we can just emit a spectrum of light and it'll confuse the shit out of them. And it gets some Gorn killed. It makes some of those little hunter ships crash into each other when they're scrambling their communication, I guess, by like, I guess they're just like flashing their lights on the Enterprise to confuse them. But yeah, you definitely see Anson Mount play a different side of Pike that seems appropriate for his character, but he's definitely like under pressure. I joked rewatching this episode with Taylor that he keeps his his landing party like combat vest. He has that on
time.
this like yeah he beamed up from Parnassus Beta. That's how you say it, right? The name of the colony planet. He beamed up from that planet way back in Hegemony Part 1, but he does not take his war armor off this entire episode. He's like every time you see him sitting in the captain's chair with this on, he's very much he comes off as kind of like soldier at war, like he's in that headspace, which is not his comfort zone. He doesn't do his best work in those military situations.
He doesn't have time to take it off. He's got things on his mind and things to do. Also, I was going to say that I felt like he learned a lot from his in Quality of Mercy, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like you can see so much growth in him, like in this episode, like from his experience of learning from Captain Kirk of what he would have done with the Romulan, issue in that. So I feel like, it's kind of out of character for him to be like, yeah, I'm ready to have a fight. Like whenever he's talking with April, he's like, I want to punch back, So I felt, he does have like a personal reason, I think, to be angry at the Gorn, right, with Batel, but
multiple ones, really,
right. But overall, I feel like I was seeing a lot of his character growth specifically from that episode in this one.
And it's Spock who says they can use the wall kite to track the Gorn ship. So I thought it was interesting they didn't have Spock use the Viridium, because like in Star Trek 6, he slaps the Viridium patch on Kirk. So like we know that Spock likes to track people with Viridium, but I think wall kite was named after one of the Strange New Worlds writers, Bill Wolkoff, I believe is his name.
I think so.
He was also a writer on Star Wars Rebels, one of my favorite shows in the other Star franchise. But they used the torpedo to tag the Gorn ship with a tracker. They do the ramming speed thing where like, oh, if we hit our shields against their shields, it'll knock both of our shields out. So that's kind of ballsy. It was like some interesting visuals, I guess, in that beginning opening battle thing.
And Pike gets to change his little setup. He switched, instead of hit it to go, it's let's hit it. And I thought that was pretty fun. That was fun.
Right.
we're literally
gonna hit their ship. So we need that line delivery of Una, let's hit it. Like,
yeah, it was great.
Very literally.
And then we get the shot that was in the trailer of the ramming, which is great. I do like when starships ram.
Yeah, the visuals looked really good, so that was exciting. Let's move on to the Enterprise arriving at the rendezvous point that April ordered them to. And I guess April is using a ship called the USS Pablo Picasso.
I have eye rolls about that.
Yeah, it seemed a little I kind of like the idea in theory of like starships named after like artists and stuff.
But pick good ones.
Oh, is that you don't like Picasso? Is that the
No, he sucks. He's a terrible person.
Okay.
He has some cool artwork. We'll give him a couple of some of his art is okay.
I don't know enough about his like real life. I mean, like it bothers me that there's a starship named Truman in Star Trek Into Darkness. It's like in the future, are we really gonna honor hopefully the only but the U.S. president who used nuclear bombs? Really and truly he's a war criminal. I hope that's how he's viewed in the future. So I just pretend that the Truman is. Oh, there was actually a Truman in the Romulan War or something, and the ship's named after him. But yeah, maybe there's another Truman. Pablo Picasso who doesn't suck. Yeah, there's a Pablo Picasso who's going to be a great humanitarian in the 22nd century that this is named after.
Yeah, my other beef with that is that he gets already so much credit. It's can we just name drop literally any other artist? That'd be cool.
Um, but we have the Battelle and Chapel scene in sickbay where Chapel is like, okay, don't worry, I'm just going to put you into stasis. And then we learn, like, oh, actually, that's not an option. She is allergic to the cryoserum.
Dun dun dun. But here we get the big thing, the big. Why aren't we putting her in transporter buffer?
Yeah, so
That's the big hole here, and it's a transporter buffer shaped hole. Which
because Chapel was working. We never saw Chapel
with Mbenga.
But we never saw Chapel in on the secret with Rukia. However, we did see it on Jagal in Under the Cloak of War. So you would think that she might know how to store someone in the transporter buffer. And Una also like helped Mbenga make that safer in sickbay when she found out about it. So you would think that like Una and Chapel, if they couldn't do it independently, then like the two of them working together would figure out how to get her suspended in the transporter buffer. Also, if they rendezvous with all these other ships, are you telling me like wouldn't any of like those other ships possibly have like a better medical facility to like, you know, why is she gonna like stay on the Enterprise, especially with the Enterprise going back into the fray? A lot of that seemed weird.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's a cut line that they use to hand wave it away, but what was presented is just this big like. I mean, yeah, Mbenga's not there, but Chapel was right there in the war. And she looked horrified when he overrode those buffers to beam more people in. She knew exactly what he was doing, and so that's just weird. I mean, I'm sure cryostasis is probably the go-to easy thing. That I'm sure they should try that first, and then they didn't know she's going to be allergic. That's fine, but that's the weirdest thing in the episode. I think that.
But what this does do is it forces Spock and Chapel to have to awkwardly work together, even though they're at like a very interesting point in their breakup where he wouldn't say goodbye to her. You know, he says like he reacted poorly in the musical. That was like the last time they were, I guess, speaking to each other before he found her in the saucer in a Hegemony Part One. You know, like when he goes on that spacewalk to say, also convenient that the one character on the Cayuga that we know about survived the attack on that ship in Hegemony Part One. So yeah, a lot of plot conveniences extending back into the Part One of the story. We get like that April Pike scene in the ready room where April's looking at the map of the Gorn hegemony. We're not gonna have like a Gorn egg section tonight because we have 2 episodes to talk about, and we're not gonna have time.
It's all Gorn eggs. That's right, and they're all in Battelle.
But yeah, normally we like to spotlight the Easter eggs and jokes and continuity connections. But I just want to point out, you can see the Cestus system on the map that April's looking at. It's on the wrong side of the Gorn demarcation line. I'm not sure why it's on the Federation side when the Gorn, seem to be under the impression that they've had a long time claim to that planet and arena. But I like that it's there, like close to the border. That's kind of cool. But this is the moment you mentioned, Taylor, when April says, unofficially, you need to find a way to punch back and show them we're not weak. We're not easy prey. I like that they referenced the Klingon War, a little bit of continuity.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that did just happen a couple years ago, so.
It still looms over everything. It makes sense. Yeah, this is sort of like the apocalypse has been canceled moment for the episode.
Nice Pacific Rim reference. And then Taylor, you mentioned this was one of your favorite parts of the episode, but we also have the Scotty Palea stuff going on, and we see they're working with that tech that Scotty had in Part 1. He was able to mask his shuttlecraft that came crashing down in the opening of Hegemony Part 1. He found a way to make his ship read as a Gorn ship to the other Gorn. So, but he unfortunately forgot how he rigged that up, and so Pelea's trying to help him She's also like giving him shit the whole time too. Like, why weren't you taking notes? You should have tracked your work and wrote everything down. And
he was not watching Mythbusters. You know, you write shit down.
I liked that stuff because when I was working in IT, I was Pelia telling all of my techs and engineers, like, why aren't you writing this down? Why didn't you update the ticket? So I felt this like so personally. And even like if you're like in a high sev or high priority event, like what he's doing, like how hard is it to be like, computer start log, you know? And
yeah,
like,
they can do it. Yeah,
you know, like he can literally just be talking out loud as he's doing it. Oh, I've just triggered the Alexa. But
just repeat that sentence, and it'll all get edited out for the podcast audience.
I don't remember what I said.
Are you saying you're not writing this down, young lady?
No, I'm not writing this down because it's being logged.
You should keep track of your work.
But yeah, but I appreciate whenever she brings up to Scotty that he should have been writing it all down, because I felt that very personally. And it wouldn't have been hard for him to have made like a verbal log while he was, you know, working on the Gorn transponder tech thing. So I like that she kind of gets onto him. I think it's really cute. And I like him being like, well, I was under a lot of pressure and I'm busy, you know, like he's very defensive, and I think it just works really well. Like the dynamic is so fun.
And it's great backstory for Scotty. We don't have backstory before TOS, really.
Yeah.
An alpha canon. It's all just beta, so it's always nice.
And it fits. Pelia figures out that Scotty works better under pressure. So like immediately when Pike comes in there to kind of ask for the status on getting this tech to work, like Peleus promises Pike, like, oh yeah, we'll have this working before we reach Gorn space. By the time we cross that line into enemy territory, this will be up and running. You have our word, Captain. And so yeah, that's that puts Scotty in, you know, like under pressure. Let's talk more about the Scotty and Pelia stuff. We'll wait a minute before we talk about the things that happen on the Gorn ship. We'll get to that before the big ending. But the Scotty Pelia, he uses the I guess the Scottish term ballhead. I'm probably saying that terribly, but I think it just means like ball head. But that's one thing that Martin Quinn's gonna do is like have like some real Scottishness, because they finally have like a Scottish actor playing Scotty. So I like that that's already coming through here. And then Pelia screaming, Scotty, the Gorn are attacking, we're all gonna die. And that was the last thing he needed to like be pushed over the edge and get the machine up and running. That's cute though. I like that being how Scotty became that excited miracle worker who is always kind of freaking out himself, but he always like got the shit done in time. You know, he always like got it fixed, got it up and running, got it modified, whatever. Yeah, I guess he learned to like lean into that kind of franticness.
Yeah, he figured out how he needs to hype stuff up for himself to get it done, and it works. And so he's stuck with it.
So Taylor, you said this is how you worked with team members in the IT world. Did you ever like yell at people like, "Oh my God, we're all about to die! Like, get this fixed"?
No, it was never that serious. It was never that serious in my job. It was just a warehouse. It wasn't life threatening.
Yeah, Jill says Scotty is ADHD coded, and yeah, absolutely, and that is like a real life thing though. Like when you're if I understand the science, I might be wrong, but it's my understanding that like when you are in a stressful situation, like you're using a different part of your brain than if it's like not as serious or not as high stakes. So yeah, for a lot of people that makes it easier. Like, you know, a lot of people say like, oh yeah, I do my best work, you know, last minute when I'm like frantically trying to finish. And I definitely have had experiences where like, oh, when things are like super serious, like, you know, like if someone's hurt or, you know, like something like really important is going on like that, it does make it really clear, like, okay, what are the priorities right now? And I've definitely had situations like that where, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, but it can make it easier to focus on whatever you're trying to do. But yeah, Scotty also he's a bit sad about his old CO, his old crew on the Star Diver. We learned in part 1 that they all died on like the science ship that was studying a star. So because of this weird chronal stuff going on, the weird the CME stuff or X flares or all of that weird sun stuff. They were studying that when the Gorn attacked. But that Palea Scotty scene, that's the first time we see the new science lab set. That's the new set for season 3.
Yeah, it's a very watery pool look to it. I was thinking whales.
I see. I don't want there to be cetacean ops before Star Trek 4. I think we started putting whales on starships after Kirk and Spock came back with the humpback whales in Star Trek 4. So I would rather it be like a water-cooled computer system or something like that, but I think they might... Just knowing the show loves to play with all the toys in the toy box, I think they'll end up putting some creatures in there, so we'll see. As they're working on it now, well, I guess now that they have that done, where the Enterprise will now appear on Gorn scanners as a fellow Gorn ship, they are ready to cross over into Gorn territory, and while commanding on the bridge, Pike is there's a shot of Pike monitoring his armrest console. It has on the captain's chair. He's watching Batel's status.
Did you remember that the armchair thing in, I forget what episode in season 1, in that same readout, Pike looks and he sees an image of his burnt out face post accident.
Oh yeah, that's the very first episode, I think.
Okay, first one I couldn't remember exactly. But I think it's such a great juxtaposition because before he was just worried about, oh my God, I'm going to die and be horribly trans. But now he doesn't care about that at all. He cares about Batel, whose life signs are, failing, and she's got Gorn babies, and it's all about her. Mm-hmm. And I think, it was a great juxtaposition with the pretty much the same looking shot.
Yeah, he's no longer focused on his own fate. He's focused on her fate. So... That's a good point, Joel. That went over my head. I'm glad you caught that. While Pike is commanding on the bridge, looking at the status, Chapel and Spock are just, I guess, spitballing ideas at this point. Spock comes up with the idea of what if we OD the Gorn embryos on an Orion street drug, Zadora
Orion
extract.
fentanyl to kill the Gorn, and then,
And all these simulations they run, and it's okay, that'll be 100% fatal, that'll be 100% fatal. They finally find something that's that's only going to be 86% fatal. But they also, in this moment, that's when Spock takes time to be hey, I just want to talk, I'll be quick. And Chapel's yeah, I know, but, listen, I'm still going on this fellowship. And Spock's okay, so, you think that, the time apart is good for us? And Chapel's yeah, but, good for us as people, not good for us as, us being us. That's over. And... I'm glad. I love that Spock apologized for being I'm sorry, I was a whiny brat who stormed off and pouted in the music. I mean, to be fair, I don't know, Chapel wasn't really communicating great in that episode either. But I like that Spock apologized. And then I love the way that Ethan Peck played Spock's reaction when Chapel, she kind of has to walk him through it and kind of spell it out. And when it hits him, and just he does the subtle kind of gulp reaction, but you can tell internally his entire world just fell apart. And it's just it moves me so much whenever I watch that.
It's a little more emotionally mature from Spock too, I think. So it was a step up for him.
Yeah, but it also shows his emotional, I don't want to say immaturity, but not as...
he's still not all the way there, but it's still better than he was before.
Not as sophisticated, or not as intelligent. He might be gaining an emotional maturity, but he's still lacking in emotional intelligence, I guess. Because she's... But I thought it was really well handled and well executed, how she kind of has to spell things out and explain it.
Not us, but us. Yeah, that was great lines.
And she even tells him, don't do anything, don't wait for me.
Spoilers for next episode.
I know, right? But I think it's interesting that they're having this big of a I think it's interesting that she is going away for 3 months and they are making such a big deal out of 3 months away from each other. I feel with the level of relationship they had, I feel like 3 months wouldn't even be that big of a deal.
I think it should have been a
Especially
bigger
during,
time
like,
jump.
Starfleet. Yeah, like if it was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going for 3 years or a year or something, like I could see
I
that
think
being,
they were constrained by the timeline with
yeah.
Well,
for how long Pike
I
would
think
be
they should have
there.
made it like 6 months. I think like 6 months would have worked.
something.
Yeah.
Now, would the Enterprise really need like 6 months worth of repair? That does seem like a little ridiculous. So, but going into the next episode, I think that there should have been like a 6 month time jump. But
Yeah. Something else I wanted to bring up from this scene is not Chapel and Spock related, but I wanted to bring up how cool their health info screens are for their patients. Like, I don't know, I'm sure it's been in other episodes, but I really liked that it has their blood pressure and heart rate and kind of like their body, as long as like whatever is going on with it, kind of like a visual of their patient. I think that's so cool. So
I think they had this before, but I think it's gotten better every season.
yeah, I agree.
Timothy
there was like
Hill,
a
right? He does all the
body thing, yeah.
That
I think so.
The artist, digital artist, I think his name is Timothy Pill, does all the on-screen graphics on the show.
It's beautiful, and I think it's gotten better every season.
Yeah.
It's just such a great tool for problem solving for them. You know, it's cool to, as an audience too, to like have like the visual of what they're working on.
And while they're talking their relationship, they also get the idea of like, oh, there's no human way to guarantee she'll survive this, but maybe with some Illyrian DNA. So they're like, okay, we have Una on the ship.
Dun dun dun. Yep.
And that also
Irony.
it lines up to when Chapel first learned that Una is an Illyrian. Because she said in that episode, Ghost of Illyria, she's like, yeah, I'm totally cool with this. If we can find a way to use you to cure everyone from like this weird light addiction virus, then like, let's do it. Like, I have zero, I'm cool. You can genetically modify yourself all you want. I ain't gonna say shit. I'm not a narc. So I like Chapel just being like, yeah, let's do that. I've been wanting to use her I'm a nerd for the genetic shit. I wanted to play with her DNA anyways. We set that up way back in season 1, so it's go time. So let's talk about the binary star situation and then the surgery they end up performing. But we get the presentation in Pike's ready room. We have Una and Uhura give this little presentation on how like, oh, we actually have figured out the solar conditions that make the Gorn go wild and the solar conditions that make the Gorn go docile, make them go to sleep. There's historically been like entire periods of time with a lot of Gorn activity, a lot of reports and rumors, and then times of not even a single whisper. So
it's all very interesting. I want to know how that works. Do they have like other species who stay awake and keep the Klingons and the Federation away while they're asleep?
Like dolphins, like how dolphins, when they're traveling in a pod, like the ones on the perimeter are awake, but every other dolphin in the middle is asleep.
Well, I think they're just kind of assuming. They're just kind of assuming, like, oh yeah, when the stars are doing this, like the Gorn are inactive. So I don't know. It's
very Lovecraftian. When the stars are right, the Gorn will come from the heavens.
The stars are not in alignment.
It does have kind of like a cosmic horror thing to like, yeah, like the stars do this weird thing and then like this like dark evil comes to devour you or impregnate you with eggs against your will, which definitely, I'm sure, like addresses some fears. It is kind of like Lovecraftian, I guess. Not what I wanted from the Gorn, but I guess kind of a semi-neat idea.
It's interesting, yeah.
A big part of my frustrations with the Gorn is like in Hegemony Part 1, I hate all of the scenes where Pike is like, no, Bob, sometimes a monster is just a monster. Or like when Sam and M'Benga and La'an are like, oh, I love to kill Gorn. No, I love to kill Gorn even more. I just like... And like even like in this, like they still seem like, you know, pretty evil and pretty monstrous, but... I can live with it. I'm like Cisco. It's like I can live with it, but I can live with it because Arena still comes last. Arena still has the last word. Arena still has Kirk realize, like, oh, maybe they're not all stupid monsters after all. Maybe I can communicate and be peaceful with them.
Or maybe they all overslept because of this, and then they're all slow and sluggish.
I mean, it does explain why the Gorn captain in Arena might be moving slower. He's
like I
still...
slept like 30 years,
Yeah.
or not 30 years, it's more like 8 or something. And it's like, just can't shake it.
Yeah, I think we're 5 or 6 years off from Arena at this point.
Yeah, I guess, but I knew I was wrong as soon as I said it.
Yeah, they find these binary stars that they assume they found the Gorn homeworld. It's kind of weird though, the effect. Like the Gorn ships show up to these 2 stars to return home, and they power down their engines, and then they get pulled by gravity off to somewhere else. But just looking at the visuals, I don't really understand, like, is the planet suspended between these 2 stars? Like, wouldn't it, like, burn up? Wouldn't it be, like, 1,000 degrees on that planet?
It was unclear based on anything on screen. And I'm talking not just, like, the view screen, but any of the models they had with when they showed the Enterprise. I didn't see a planet nearby, and I don't know.
And I've also heard, like, some people speculate, like, the way that it's, like, kind of, like, warped away by the gravity, it almost looks like it's kind of, like, slingshot, like it's, like, shot out of the solar system to somewhere else. It doesn't...
I kind of read the effect to be, like, it was turning invisible or going to an alternate universe, or it's, like a chameleon thing where it's, like, they blend in, like, they're camouflaged. But I don't know. I thought it was weird because my first thought was like, oh, they're in an alternate reality now. They're gone. And I was like, wait, that's the wrong show. I don't think that's
Una
right.
does say it's a natural hologram, which just means it's a visual thing.
Okay.
And there's no evidence of going to a different...
Well, is it like a relativity thing? Is the gravity of these stars...
I think the ship is just going, but it makes it look like it disappears, but the ship keeps going.
Well, if it's
I hope there's a planet on the other side. I don't know. Yeah,
if it's that close to these stars, like y'all are saying, it's got to be so hot. Maybe that makes sense why the Gorn is so slow in Arena, because even though it looks like a desert, it's still not super duper hot.
But it was very unclear. It was the visuals didn't do a good enough job of it conveying whatever the storytellers wanted to.
The visuals are beautiful. They
are beautiful.
Seem to be pulling from the movie Sunshine with all these people standing in front of images of really close sun. It's so bright. They're just silhouetted, and it reminded me of Sunshine. Right? Have you seen that, Valerie? Sunshine?
Yeah, I really love that movie, and because of that movie, I have kind of like this like weird like respect for stars. I'm like, oh yeah, we're just like peons on a little peon speck of dust.
Yeah, something goes wrong.
Like, like those stars, like they don't even notice us. These things that just like burn for billions of years, but. It is kind of weird that we're having binary stars again. Like, that was famously at the beginning of Discovery, and then just recently they called back to that in Discovery when they ended with binary black holes. So it's kind of weird to see it again here. However, I do know in real life astronomy, I might be wrong about this also, but it's my understanding that binary stars are actually super common, that like a lot of star systems have 2 stars. Our solar system was almost a binary star situation. Jupiter didn't quite have enough mass to become a star, so I kind of feel sorry for Jupiter. It's almost a star. That's kind of a shitty fate. You're almost a star.
Or like in 2010, I never read that book, but I saw the movie. The weird aliens just turned it into a star, and there you go.
Yeah, and then it's cool. Like on Earth, we have like 2 suns.
You can grow bananas all year round.
Yeah. But it is very visually exciting. You get like that big Gorn fleet that comes screaming out of there, and so I was thinking that like the Enterprise would like turn off its engines and just kind of drift to the Gorn homeworld, and we would get like a look at the Gorn homeworld, but they didn't do that.
Saving that for later. I don't know.
And that thing too, that's derivative of the last season of Discovery as well, because when they went to the library in the Badlands, they had to turn off their engines and just kind of float through the Badland gravitational currents, which in and of itself was something that Ezri Dax figured out to do in the Badlands in Deep Space Nine. So even that was kind of a reuse of a reused idea.
If it works.
But instead of going to the Gorn homeworld, the plan they come up with, because there is like this insanely big fleet that looks like it would go wipe out Starfleet, and the Gorn would just dominate over the Federation, and they can't send a signal, or they send a signal, but it's like delayed, I guess, because April eventually gets it. But they come up with the idea of like, oh, we need to send the Xiaomi X Flare light out into Gorn space that will make all of the Gorn go into their docile state. And the way that they explain this, where Scotty is like, well, if you do that, there's like a 1 in 1,000 shot will blow up. And this is kind of like a dumb action movie thing that frustrates me when they do in anything, but especially in Star Trek, where I want it to be like a little bit more heady, be like a little bit more thoughtful with the stuff. But Pike is just says like, no, it'll work. We'll just turn it off before we blow up. It pisses me off in Disco Season 3 when they're like retaking the ship from Osira, and they're like, oh, what if we do like the warp core detonation here, but then like we spore jump out, and there's like, we'll almost certainly blow up, and Michael Burnham was like, well, what if we don't? And like I rolled my eyes so hard, I'm like, that is so dumb. And then here they do that again. It's like Pike is like, oh, we just won't do it.
We'll do all the danger till it's super dangerous, then we'll stop the danger.
I guess he knows that he has plot armor, because he's like I know I'm
wearing
gonna survive.
That's not just body armor. That's plot armor.
But he's like, I know that I'll eventually save those cadets, so I know the ship's not gonna blow up if we do this. Maybe that's why he's so confident.
And this is why you shouldn't know your future, folks.
Yeah. Sometimes it works, but sometimes everyone dies.
And let's talk about the Gorn surgery. I liked the suits they're wearing. They look like they're based on the those orange shower curtain environmental suits from the original series, from the Naked Time.
Yes, indeed. They look a lot easier to wear too than some of the Enterprise, outside space suits where there's all hard plastic. These are like soft and more like clothes to wear in. And
sometimes when you put actors in spacesuits, they do like weird things in shows and movies to like light the actors' faces, and you're like, man, like those lights on your face look so weird and impractical. Like remember in Disco Season 4 when they went to the 10C homeworld and everyone was lit so weird in those environmental suits. But like I actually like the lighting they did on Ethan Peck and Jess Bush here. So
it worked pretty well. There's enough light to see their face, but not like,
But I thought this was dumb too when I like the idea they come up with. Like Spock figures out like, oh, like the Gorn embryos come out to feed. So if we just if we give them something, nutrition or something to satiate them, they won't pop out, and then they'll just be reabsorbed, I guess, into her body with the Illyrian DNA. Like, I like all that stuff, but what I didn't like is when Chapel's like, we have no idea if this will work. We have no time to, like, run a simulation. And then he says, like, you gotta have faith. It's like, that seemed like a weird,
yeah.
I think he was just being nice to her because she had just said that. That's what I took it as. Not so much that he really believes that so much as that she had just said those words about the previous thing that it only had a 14% chance of working.
Yeah, it just seemed out of character for him.
He's trying to flirt. Well. He's not good at it.
Yeah, like he's comforting her instead. I thought that was a weird. I have a problem with the Gorn babies being reabsorbed into Batel because I feel like I want them out of her. Like I think like them being reabsorbed into her and like melting back into goo and like them dying and then being re-infiltrated into her is disgusting. And also like it's not super fair to her. Like she's gonna live the rest of her life with like these Gorn cells like in her body. I mean, they'll be like obviously reverted, but still, like I feel like ew, like I would want them out of me, like more than I'd be like, I don't like this plan. Or like if you're gonna insert food into them, like why couldn't you insert like a poison into the Gorn stomach if you're gonna
they missed a step, I think. I think what they had to do is feed them, somehow poison them.
Well, the Illyrian DNA,
then they'll be reabsorbed.
The Illyrian DNA was gonna
I
think they just
Yeah, they kind of didn't say that exactly. They said that would help with the reabsorption and keep her from getting infections during said phase.
Yeah, I'm not super thrilled.
Maybe in the 23rd century, it's obvious what you do, and we're just done.
But here's the thing, y'all. Like, what if this is just buying time, and then eventually, at some point in the future, we're gonna have a scene of Pike and Battelle like kissing on the couch again, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh no, it hurts, and then like a bunch of Gorn pop out of her back, and she dies, and there's Gorn running around. Like they might have just like delayed the Gorn birth, but it's still gonna happen.
She'll start to look like John Hurt, and then it all goes wrong.
I have some more thoughts on Battelle, but she's also in the next episode, and we get a big scene with her later here.
Yeah, so I wrote in my notes that Battelle is now like 10% Gorn, 10% Illyrian, and only 80%
she's gonna be
human
like speaking of the Alien movies, in the fourth one, Alien Resurrection, when Ripley is like part alien, they might do something like that. Let's move on to the stuff on the Gorn ship. So we have like the shot of like the camera following one of the little Gorn hunter ships into the big ass Gorn destroyer ship.
It's very Mines of Moria inside. It looks like the dwarves built it under a mountain.
It would have been cool if the camera tracked the ship like all the way in, and then like the camera went all the way to the close-up on Christina Chong's face without having to... They cheated a couple times to like... And I get it, it's like a TV show. If it was a movie, they would have done that, but... They show us La'an's nightmares she's having, which explains why she's able to do so many of the things that she does later in this episode, but... she's having visions of her family that were killed by the Gorn by her brother, who they set up way back in season 1, had kind of hacked the Gorn language. He figured out how their language works. So stuff that she uses later. They never explain why she's able to wake up and escape from her goo pod. All these prisoners are kept in like these goo pods because the organic ship is digesting them. But for some, I assume it's because like her augment DNA had been exposed to the Gorn previously, so she has like some resistance to it.
Mm-hmm. I felt that with the flashbacks of her like being like unconscious in the pod, but still getting those flashbacks of her being on Gorn was like almost like a nightmare waking her up, because she was so scared, and then she was like, oh well, great, this is where I am.
It's like
she might have gone into this with more adrenaline than anyone else, because
her Gorn hatred woke her up, or her Gorn fear, or both. It was the combination of both.
I also think it's a pretty cool parallel to the Gorn babies, of them being like in the pod, like in that pocket, like they're kind of like in a pocket in Battelle,
Oh, and La'an is like the Gorn like bursting out, like
this is
like her...
but it's like not. It's like La'an as a person bursting out of her little Gorn sack. I don't know, but there's like a something there.
It all seemed very Matrixy too, leaving the pods.
Yeah. I do love her coming to her senses there. Like, obviously she's woken up high adrenaline, and then also like immediately falls and has to deal with a stressful solution like immediately. But when she like collects herself and then is like, save the doctor first, or rescue the doctor, whatever she says. But it's so good.
Always start with the doctor.
Always start with the doctor.
Not Sam's third.
I loved that because it was so rational and like, I loved that moment where we see her literally collect herself and then start forming a plan. So, and I loved it. So that was my favorite part on the Gorn ship, actually, was just her waking up and starting to form the plan.
Because the rest of it was too yucky for you.
It was yucky, slime. But I felt like it was really boring. Like, like not a lot happens. Like I was saying, a lot of the action, a lot of the action on the Gorn ship happens off screen for them.
It does.
So
I'm not sure if that's just because it was expensive, because it looked like they spent a lot on that. I mean, I'm sure the area wall was the back, but
yeah, they don't really have much to do on there.
Were like
the La'an, Mbenga, Sam, and Ortega's are all awake and they come up with a plan that they discuss off screen, and then they're like, okay, our plan is like go in this ship and fly out of here.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Who will fly the ship? I don't know, but we'll find out.
Well, speaking of that, what did y'all think about Ortega's having half her hand burnt off by? Like, I guess they're in like a big tank of like, it's like acid. It's like
Yeah, they're being
stomach
digested.
acid.
Yeah,
It's like
they're being
dissolving.
digested.
So
Yeah.
Ugh.
I guess like it, for some reason it dissolved. It's like started on her hand and only ate that part. But they do have like burns and stuff like on their faces and arms where
Well,
I
it's
assume it's
like-
like eating them.
Where you're thinnest, you know, like your toes, your nose, your ears,
Okay.
your
Like
fingers.
frostbite kind of.
Yeah, like that's gonna digest faster than like your legs, you know.
I do think it's a little weird in the 23rd century to be able to like regrow entire digits like that. Like I think that would be commonplace in like 24th century, but I feel like in 23rd century they would still be using like a bionic hand or something, like almost kind of a Luke Skywalker situation. Like the way that Detmer had all of those technological
Yeah.
modifications after the battle at the binary stars, but yeah, I guess apparently doctors can like regrow half your hand back in the 23rd century.
Well, it's just
so,
skin and muscle, so I mean that's a little different than the whole thing, right? We'll find. I don't know. I say that like I know.
But luckily they were able to find some weapons out of the crap pile.
Yeah, I wrote down they found him in the Gorn porta potty.
Oh my god, y'all are gross.
And you also see that
So-
dude who's it's
Yeah,
very
it is.
horror movie-esque.
That's
so, like, his
straight out
face
of
is
like
dissolved.
Hellraiser.
Yeah. So I guess they don't say how many of these colonists die, but I assume some of them got dissolved in there. Like that guy doesn't look like he's gonna survive. So,
I think he's gone. Yeah.
but I loved La'an having like the big victory with all of this Gorn stuff. She's spent so much time like stressed and terrified and like like waiting for the Gorn to come back. And then here she has like the opportunity to save people. Like she couldn't save her brother, but she can save all of these people. When she finds the it's another plot convenience, but she finds the interface thing, and she's like, "Oh look, I now have the transporter codes we need to beam these people back." They had to do that because they established earlier, like, "Oh, we knocked out the Gorn shields to put the tracker on them." It's like if you can knock out their shields, why not beam people back then? So I think that's why they created like, "Oh, the Gorn require these transporter codes. Without those, we can't beam anything off their ship, regardless if the shields are up or down."
I thought it was interesting in this scene that M'Benga is actually the one who identified it as transporter codes first. And I think that tracks very much for his personality because he loves to put people in the transporter buffer.
Yes,
so he
does.
recognized like the pattern, even though it was in a different language. So I thought that was pretty cool. And
yeah, he saw the buffer signatures.
Yeah, it kind of explains like how they figured it out, even though it was in a different language, because he just recognized the pattern.
Yeah,
and like some math would be the same no matter how you represent it. Yeah,
she knows Gorn language a little bit because of her brother,
right?
Yep.
Who they
but
reminded us
I don't think she'd be able
earlier.
to read like code, you know?
Right. She probably like wouldn't have recognized that as like the buffer signatures that M'Benga. But yeah, that was good continuity. It's like, oh yeah, that's the guy who knows about transporter stuff.
That's why he couldn't be on the ship because he had to be there to tell her that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They get like that Gorn swarm when Sam is like, okay, all we have to do is like get on this ship and not get caught by the Gorn, and then they're all like, "F you, Sam! Why would you say that?"
And this is when it cuts, remember? Because it's like, oh, they're about to be like attacked, and I'm like, this is gonna be like a big fight scene.
Yeah.
And then it goes away, which is fine.
This is super.
I don't super need
this
to see
super,
it, but it's
I keep
weird.
doing that.
It's okay.
Sorry, this is super Warhammer 40k. That's what. Okay, there's a bunch of people with weapons on an alien ship, and there's a bunch of aliens who are just running at them, and there's a horde of them, and they have almost no chance. This is the board game Space Hulk that started most of Warhammer 40k. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically they ripped it off for Avengers Endgame when the aliens attack Wakanda. It's basically exactly stuff from Warhammer 40k. A bunch of aliens who are a horde. Each one's easy to kill, but there's 1 billion of them. and so you keep firing till you're exhausted, and then they do that. Yeah, they don't film it all because it would be really expensive to do 10 more minutes of that action, and I get that, but
it's a bug hunt, as they would say in the Alien franchise, which they love to borrow from for these Gorn
and then
episodes.
we segue right into them holding people up, just like the Predator.
But there's
with the
that
one hand.
when there's like the Gorn army like screaming down that tunnel towards them, and then there's like one Gorn sneaking up behind La'an, and Ortega's runs up and gets like stabbed in the side by the Gorn claws, and I would have been. So they
like, gutted and lifted.
Yeah, they telegraphed the death of Batel so hard in season 1 that I just assumed going into Hegemony Part 2, like I've said for 2 years, like I don't think there's any way in hell they would actually kill off Batel, because they foreshadowed it so much that's like, okay, I think they're going to misdirect and swerve and do something else. And I would have been worried for all of these people who we don't know live to the original series. I would have been so worried about Ortega's. I would have been like, oh no, they might actually kill Ortega's. They could always just like kill her off and then bring Sulu. And the reason why when she is lifted up by the Gorn, you know, she already has like half her hand cut off. She's like severely injured, and it's like a perfect opportunity for her to make like a sacrifice or something. But like the only reason why I wasn't worried about that is because they had shown her in the trailers for other episodes. So I was like, oh no, she's gonna be in that episode with her brother flirting with Uhura. So I remembered that as I was watching, so I wasn't too worried.
Had some thoughts on this too. My last rewatch just before we started streaming, they shot season 1 and 2 back to back before they were aired, so there was no feedback. Mm-hmm. This one, of course, they shot later when they shot season 3, after some had come out. But they must have sort of had a plan because it's a part 2. I don't think they quite Best of Both Worlds and be like, oh, we'll figure it out later. I think they plan these out a little better than Best of Both Worlds as far as having a resolution. So maybe they were going to kill her. But everyone loves her. And Mortegas became a thing. It wouldn't surprise me if it wouldn't have gone into production at all. But maybe on like the page there was, well, maybe we'll kill Ortegas. And then they're like, oh, let's not do that.
Yeah, maybe that was the original plan. Was to bring.
We'll probably find out in like 8 years or something when the show's over. But we won't before then. But it certainly could be, because it would set her up. I think she would have died at the end, just as she had flown them to safety. That would be the point where she would be comfortable dying, because she did it. She saved everyone, and with her power of flying, and
be like that callback when she says, I'm Erica Ortegas and I fly the ship. And that would be pretty gruesome, but it would be a good last line for her, I think, if you were gonna
for her to die at the end of this episode would have made a lot of sense. For her to like fly the ship back and then die. Even like that shot of like the blood, like dripping down on the control consoles,
filling those little like things in the console. It was such great shots. Just the yellow turning to red. It was those were great. Yeah.
Before we move on to that escape sequence, what did y'all think of the close-up Gorn explosion when Lon shoots that guy in the neck? It
reminds me of Aliens.
His head up.
Yeah, because Alien, the alien is unstoppable killing machine, and Aliens. They are until Hicks puts a shotgun to the one's head.
Yeah, that was another Alien thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We realize, if you have weapons, you can kill them. They're still horrible, and you're probably going to die. But a weapon to the head, they can't stop that. So, and it's very yellow goo.
Well, let's talk about our ending. The Enterprise shuts down their emitter that's hiding them from the Gorn, so they're trying to draw all their ships towards them, and then Pike has the line. I thought it was kind of cheesy, the make us shine like the sun line. They wanted it to be something really cool with like the close-up on Pike and like the dramatic music, but it's like, okay, I thought that was kind of
not as good as Let's Hit It. Yeah.
But yeah, well, he's doing that. Ortega's is flying the Gorn hunter ship, and I loved these Gorn pilots. Like it's kind of like in the other Star franchise when you get
Yes.
the close up of the TIE fighter pilot, like you see the dude in the cockpit. But yeah, we see like
Yeah.
Gorn pilots inside of these hunter ships. There's a few different shots of them, but I like them because they look goofy and stupid, like the like the OG Gorn, but still kind of cool in a sci-fi way. About 8 foot tall iguanas, as Ortegas will call them in the next episode. But yeah, the flashy lights on the Enterprise, that they make by stealing some solar matter from the two binary stars and lighting it up in a certain way, and that successfully pulls all the Gorn ships, I guess, back to the home world. It draws them back to go take their nap or whatever it is they're gonna do. And La'an is able to get that communication signal to Uhura and the Enterprise,
Yep.
and says like, here you go. I'm sending you the codes to beam everyone. So I'm so happy for La'an. I really like her character. I sometimes forget how much I love her, and I love Christina Chong's performance, and I love seeing this poor woman that I've felt so sorry for the first 2 seasons. She gets like this big victory and saves everyone. So, good news for Lon. Sad news for Spock and Chapel. There's that another breakup scene. I guess I keep saying it's kind of like a breakup scene, or like Subspace Rhapsody had like the breakup scene. But this is like the actual breakup scene.
It's a
At
slow,
least
long burn. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least until 3 months later when Spock tries again. But yeah, he's like, okay, I guess this is it. This is goodbye. And he steps away from Chapel. And then she turns around to greet Pike, who's coming down to sickbay to check on Batel. And then when Chapel turns around again, Spock is gone. He finally got the hint.
Kinda. For
No,
now.
yeah. I
Until
actually
she's
have
gone,
like
and then
many
he
problems
takes tango
with that.
lessons. Yeah.
I feel like, well, I guess because he's got lots of emotions right now, but like logically, if someone has told you multiple times now, like we're done, like I don't
Spock has
know.
been watching romantic comedies, so he knows never to trust people and always to just push until you get what you. And then that's terrible advice.
It just bothers me so much because I feel like he doesn't respect what she's saying to him.
Well, she never says, don't try again. She just says, like, don't wait.
She says
Don't
no
wait for
grand
me.
romantic gestures.
Yeah, and
Those
she
words.
says not us like us. She's done.
Yeah.
And like I feel like she's been very gentle and very polite and like firm. And
Yeah, she was.
he
I don't blame her.
He doesn't take the hint. I don't like that because I want Spock to be more respectful and maybe a little bit more mature. But yeah, I guess I'll have to just live with it.
Well, let's talk about the Pike and Batel scene. There,
Yeah.
I think Anson Mount does a really great performance.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I don't really
so good.
like some of the writing in this, but the acting makes me buy it. And there's that moment when Anson Mount plays Pike, just like totally like he breaks down, he gives in. And he has that line, "Okay, Dad, you win."
Yep.
And then he starts praying. He starts giving the Lord's Prayer.
Bringing it back to the thing with his father, like in those old
Yeah.
scientists.
Ooh, they talked about his dad also in season 2 of Discovery.
Yep, in New Eden, right?
Yeah, so it sounded like in that episode that he was a theologian, and kind of like studied religion from the academic side of things. But a lot of people have speculated that I think he might have been like a preacher, and he has also that reference like his cousin in church and stuff. So I think what I kind of assume is the case is I guess Pike's dad was both like a student of religion, but also like practiced some. I think it's
you
just
can
kind
do
of
both.
probably like
I
a
mean,
like a modern for the 23rd century kind of like New Age kind of like some vague form of Christianity. Because sometimes he seems very Protestant, sometimes he seems very Catholic with some of the things he says and stuff. But whatever it is, there is like a kind of history of
there's
Pike
a line that goes through.
But well, even way back in in the cage, when the Telosians put him in like that recreation of hell, and they tell him from a story you heard, from a fable you heard as a child. So it's like, oh yeah, like this was stuff that like his dad was teaching him about like all his life. And this is the first time we see that like Pike kind of like resisted it and was like no, dad, like I'm not the spiritual type, like that's not for me, I'm not a praying man. But here he's so desperate in the situation that he's like, okay, dad, you win. And yeah, like you were saying, Joel, like we just learned like he just became older than his dad ever lived to be in season 2. So his dad, Mr. Pike or whatever, Christopher Pike Sr. or whatever the hell his name was, like that guy has been on his mind a lot lately.
It's probably Bob Pike.
Bob Pike
in this episode.
When Battelle wakes up, there's another interesting thing that she does, kind of another subtle reaction when Pike says, we used Una to save you, and she's like, you shouldn't have done that.
Oh, I love it. Just everything about that is so beautiful. The prosecutor of Una, I mean, that wasn't her idea, but she followed orders. She did it. Now she's part Illyrian, because this isn't like you getting blood transfusion from another human, which it's the same. It's just those antigens are different. Otherwise, it's the same. It's the exact same thing. This is an Illyrian, and I don't think this stuff. I think they make stuff to last, and I think she's Illyrian now, partly, not as much as Una or any of those people, but I think forever she's partly Illyrian. So. And so she has to wrestle with that now, and I think it's just absolutely beautifully thematically, and it's great to see her upset. I love it.
I don't know if they'll make it like there's something permanently changed with her, because
I don't know if they'll bring it up too much, but
she had to get continuous blood injections for 3 months after this. We learn in the next episode, but it is like all off the record though, since this entire mission is off the record. And maybe that also explains why like people don't seem to know about the Gorn homeworld later, or like, so that there doesn't seem to be much information on the Gorn. And knowing that like they have like these periods of inactivity, that also explains why, oh yeah, we don't really see any Gorn at all during like TNG, DS9, or Voyager, but then like during Lower Decks and Prodigy, the Gorn are like active again. So a lot of that stuff is kind of left kind of neat and tidy. As someone who like doesn't particularly like the Gorn stuff in Strange New Worlds, but is also like a big fan of the show in most of the other episodes, I would be very happy if we just don't touch the Gorn again until Arena, until like because it's like what Pike says, like I think all we did was maybe just like put the Gorn to sleep for now, and they're going to be someone else's problem down the road. It's going to be like, like Sam's brother is going to have to fight one.
We can deal with Ortega's PTSD, but with no actual Gorn. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Either of y'all
you have an image up of the binary stars, and the last scene is Pike and Battelle putting their heads together, and it fades into the image of the binary stars, and I thought that was such a great shot. This had some really, really good shots this episode. I love them.
Yeah, Chris Fisher, who also directed the season 2 premiere, so he's one of those spinny camera guys. He likes those spinny.
There was a lot of that
shots,
this episode. So, yeah, I noticed.
But yeah, I did like most of the visuals in this episode, though. It did look very good. And like I was saying, solid acting. Not the best writing, and a few disappointing choices, but I'm happy to have like the Gorn stuff wrapped up. Hopefully, I do worry about the Ortega's PTSD stuff that we learn about in the episode we're about to talk about, Wedding Bell Blues. Before we do that, though, do either of y'all have any additional thoughts on Hegemony Part 2 before we move on?
Let's see. Did I write something down at the end? I think we covered it all.
Yeah,
all right,
I agree.
Then. So let's move on then to Wedding Bell Blues. I'm just going to quickly recap this episode by reading the synopsis, and then I'll expand on that with spoilers. The synopsis reads, at a Federation celebration, an uninvited guest disrupts Spock and the crew's reflections. And it turns out, I guess the show is currently in the year 2161, because we're having the Federation Centennial, Enterprise undergoing repairs for 3 months at Starbase 1. Spock sad to see Chapel show up for the Centennial celebrations with her new boyfriend, Roger Corby. But Trelane, I guess, from the Squire Agathos, or maybe it's Q, or maybe it's Q Jr. from Voyager, or maybe it's all of those things and none of those things, but some entity that is very Trelane-like shows up, puts a spell on everyone to make them think Spock is getting married to Chapel. But then Roger Corby and Spock realize it's a false reality and work together to get things set straight. And at the end, I guess it suggests that John Delancey plays Trelane's dad or something. I don't know. We can talk about all this stuff, but
When we get to it, yeah.
just opening statements. Taylor, you want to go first and just tell us your broad thoughts on this episode before we get into the episode breakdown?
Sure. I was really worried about this episode with how it starts with Spock and Chapel, because I was like, please stop beating a dead horse. But I actually did really enjoy this episode, and I'm very stoked about all of the Trelane content. I was really worried about how Corby was going to be in this, and I really loved his performance, and I thought it was a really fun character to add to the show. But yeah, overall, I'm obsessed with all of the wardrobe in this. I thought it was a fun episode. I loved Spock in this so much more, and Chapel in this. Got some new characters that I'm excited about. So the more I watch this episode, the more excited I am for season 3. So
cool. Joel, what about you?
Yeah, I really like this. I too was surprised going into it that this was the Trelane one. We'd seen, the pictures. We thought it was going to be Trelane at some point, but I assumed it was going to be one of the other ones that we saw parts of. So I was very shocked that this was the Trelane one, and they did a great job. I love this too. I think, all the parts. There's a lot of moving parts, and I think they land everything here. This is, it's funny. This is sort of the wacky Vulcan one that we seem to get every season, or at least one of them. We also have Patton Oswalt coming, so maybe there's 2 wacky Vulcan ones. But
and the genetically engineering, let's turn half the cast into Vulcans episode.
That one doesn't look so hijinky and fun though. But this episode is so. And the whole Trelane, and then we'll get to the Trelane cuteness. They thread a needle. They say, look, it could be all this, but they don't commit, and they leave it up in the air in a way that's not like, oh, they didn't, they wussed out. No, it was. I love how they handled all of it. I think they did it just right without committing to a bunch of exposition about godlike entities, which who knows if that makes sense, but I think, they nailed all the little bits, and I loved it.
Well,
though it did have robots again on the ship. I know Father wouldn't like that. So
it opens with the .7 droids or whatever.
I guess they're at Starbase. They're not on the ship.
R2D2
they're Starbase
things.
ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate those things. We had avoided them in Strange New Worlds up until now. So
well, maybe they're only on Starbase. They're not on the ship.
But I don't want them to be in anything. But
I know. I'm trying to help.
I'm okay with them being in the 32nd century in Discovery. But
that works. That works.
I'll be quick with my opening statements because we're falling a little behind schedule. But I did like this episode quite a bit more than Hegemony Part 2. It raises a lot of questions though. So I kind of feel like I have to reserve judgment on this episode until I see what they do with the Trelane and Q stuff. I kind of don't really like where they end things if they're not going to explain it more than this. I kind of feel like they just kind of muddied the waters and made things like a bit more confusing than they needed to be. Like I'm not someone who ever needed Trelane and Q to be connected. I was always fine with them being separate entities, but I've also read beta canon things where they were connected. So I wasn't totally against it or for it. But I'm hoping that they address this stuff a little bit more, because I'm confused. Like, is this Trelane like before the events of Squire of Gothos? Is this like an older Trelane because Rhys Darby looks a little older than William Campbell? Is it? And Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonso Meyer have been really weird in interviews talking about this. They're like, oh, well, in the continuum, maybe they're all the same person, but none are the same. And they're just being like real like ambiguous, and like they don't want to pin anything down. Like, if you didn't have like a good enough idea to change this, like, if you're going to change this to something, but you don't want to say what that something is, then why change it? Just felt like an odd choice. But with those complaints out of the way, I do enjoy the fun, low-stakes nature of the episode. It's funny, we talked all about Hegemony Part 2 without saying, like, our big complaint and eye roll that putting the Borg to sleep
we skipped it.
It's the same conclusion.
I didn't write that at the end of the note, so...
It was like the same conclusion as Best of Both Worlds Part 2 when the Enterprise D crew put all the Borg to sleep. But also, like, right after that, they're like, okay, let's just have, like, the ship go recover at the station and have, like, our characters have a little bit more of an intimate, lower-stakes episode. And so with TNG, we got family. Here on Strange New Worlds, we get some Vulcan hijinks. But I liked the Vulcan hijinks. Like I said earlier, talking about Hegemony Part 2, I eat up the Spock Chapel soap opera trash. So let's talk about that. Just starting off the episode breakdown with Spock's log entry at the very beginning, explaining that they've been at Starbase for 3 months. They're 3 days away from the Federation Day Centennial. I see the chat pointed out I misspoke earlier. I think I said the wrong year. I probably said 2361. I should say it's 2261. I say that incorrectly often. So I know.
Want to make editing hard, right? So.
Well, no, I'll just I'll say it wrong, and then I'll have like my correction inserted in there, so the podcast audience will be okay. But yeah, Spock he's so excited to see Chapel. He has his gift ready. We have hairy-chested Ethan Peck now, so I wish Dave was here, because he rolled his eyes at me when I said, way back when we talked about the first episode of Strange New Worlds, I said, like, you have, like, shaved chest Ethan Peck, but in TOS, Leonard Nimoy had a hairy chest, and so obviously to Pring, it's her preference. That's why he's shaving his chest. And Dave was like, come on, Father, you don't need to come up with a headcanon for why this actor, his chest might look different here than this other actor looks later. But what the hell, Dave? I wish you were here so I could be like, see, now that he's broke up with T'Pring, he's got a hairy chest again, so...
I'm pretty sure everyone at Salon Trek manifested this into being, so I give credit to them. They can change reality if they come together.
I'm glad they have the Trelane reality-altering abilities.
They do.
But... do they have to use a machine like Trelane had to use in Squire Agathos, or are they like this Trelane who seems more powerful?
I think they just do like the Bewitched thing with the nose, but
I love the use of the Starbase One, those environmental domes or biodomes or whatever they are. It looks like such like a cool environment when Spock is getting his salsa dancing lessons from La'an, but inside of that dome, you can look up into the sky, and not only do you see like all this tropical stuff, like the waterfalls and all the trees and greenery, but you can see like the starships, the Starbase One starships hanging above you in the sky. So it's just like a really cool environment to hang out.
And the shiny floor reflects it. It's great.
Yeah, this is such a gorgeous looking episode.
Oh yeah.
But I like seeing La'an in like a happier headspace post Gorn. They talk about that. She's like, oh yeah, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a ballerina, and then the Gorn ruined my dreams. But they came back and I defeated them, and now I'm teaching Vulcans to dance.
Again. Yeah.
And I like when Spock says Vulcans, as a rule, do not dance, because Tuvok said Vulcans don't dance in Voyager.
That's true. Yes.
So they address that. And I also liked the line. It was a very like classic Spock line, but the absence of a heart would be quite fatal. When Lon says, "Well, we know what absence does to the heart."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, clearly in
Trolls
Spock's
her.
case,
Yep.
for Spock, it makes the heart grow fonder. For Chapel, I think it was more like out of sight, out of mind.
Out of mind. Yes.
She had broken up with him several times. Okay. And this really disappointed me. I really thought like, oh, I'm excited to see Spock like branching out and dancing with La'an and like having his own thing and them being people. Remember she says like, let's see where these 3 months take us as people. I was thinking like, oh, he's like trying new hobbies and like making stronger connections with other people. And then it was like, I'm learning to dance because of Christine. And I was like, oh my God, like this is
she said no grand romantic gestures
and not to
doubling
wait for
down
her. So
he's doing both.
I just feel like that sucked. So I was so upset like the first like 10 minutes of this episode, but I got over it. But
yeah, you thought you were gonna hate it at first.
Oh yeah. But
I knew Spock would misbehave in this way. So
I liked La'an in this scene because I feel like she's already picked up on like, oh, as the security person, like she's like, oh, I already know that Christine has brought a guest, and she's kind of feeling out Spock, and like, I think it's kind of sweet as like a friend thing to kind of be checking in on him, but she kind of I feel like has an idea. Like I think she's smart enough to like, this isn't going to be what Spock thinks it's going to be. And so when she kind of like rushes after him a little bit to the transporter pad, I think she kind of already knows and she wants to be there for her friend. And like, whenever she's like, yeah, I'm here because I have to check in this
I think if she knew, she would have warned him though. I think she would have been like, you maybe like not want to offer her a gift.
Well,
like,
I was thinking it was like she has an idea, but she's not 100% certain. But I think she's like, thinking it might be a thing.
I think she figures it out. She figures it out pretty quick when Corby shows up. But
yeah,
before he beams on though, and you see Scotty and Spock together at the transporter console, I want to say that I really like Martin Quinn as Scotty. However, his baby face, his youthfulness, really weirds me out. It's weird that in 6 years he's gonna look like James Doohan. Or not even that amount. In 5 years, he'll look like James Doohan. Or no, I guess like in 4 years. I think where No Man Has Gone Before is supposed to be in 65. But anyways, the part where it like really felt like he's inappropriately young to me, seeing him and Spock on screen together in that transporter scene in this episode, because it's like Scotty seems younger than Spock, and that feels wrong to me. That just feels like that's kind of like reality breaking. It's like that does not compute. Like I can't have Scotty be younger than Spock. That just that hurts my brain to see. But maybe I'll get over it as time goes on. As we'll talk about in this episode, Scotty also like starts drinking, and I guess like the joke is like he's gonna drink so much it's gonna age him. But like he
doesn't sleep at all, and he just drinks, and then
or maybe he has like
that's sad though. Like that's a funny joke, but that's fucking sad if that's the.
I'm just trying to make it work. It is horrible. I didn't mean to hurt Scotty in my.
I feel like it could be explained away. Like maybe he has like a weird experience where he gets time jumped in some weird way.
Some people age like that. Some people like look 19 until they turn like 45, and then and then it all catches up to them immediately. Like I've known people that I'm not gonna name any names. I don't want to like insult anyone, but I've seen that happen in real life. So, but Scotty does notice a weird sensor glitch, and then he's like, "Oh, I guess it's gone. Guess it was nothing." But
yeah, I think this is the first real big Twilight Zone reference in it, because a whole bunch they basically say it in the end, a different one, but this is just like Shatner looking out in the wing and seeing a creature on the airplane, and it's just it's there and it's gone, and then it starts the whole thing, and then they continue this weird Twilight Zone stuff throughout the whole episode, and I really like that.
Yeah, they get a little quantum leap in here too.
Yeah.
But Christine as she says in this episode, she talked about how like she didn't want to be in a relationship, she didn't want a boyfriend, and then she goes off on her fellowship, and then she comes home for the holidays with Roger Corby, so who is very excited to see Spock with the first edition Salt of Anter, or however you say that thing, whatever that gift was.
I saw how it's spelled, but yeah, I did.
We also got like the Irish pronunciation of it. Like Roger Corby is Irish now.
He always was. It's just androids that aren't.
Yeah. Well, there is like that line at the beginning of What Are Little Girls Made Of, when Spock is like, "Are you sure that you recognized his voice correctly?" So maybe he's like, maybe that was Spock being like, "Hey, didn't this guy used to sound Irish?" Like. But
yeah, I think it works.
Killian O'Sullivan, I believe, is the name of the actor playing Corby.
Yep.
I like him though. I think the casting is good. And I actually like his voice, like regardless of like the Irish accent. It's like that I don't know, it kind of seemed appropriate for the guy from What Are Little Girls Made Of. The inclusion of him in this episode, you know, he's a big part of this story. I'm curious how much we'll see him throughout season 3. Is he going to be in a bunch of episodes? Is he just going to show up once or twice?
Once more, maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too.
But yeah, it's awkward immediately with Spock when he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna have my my bangs all perfect. I'm gonna give this gift to her. I'm gonna show her my cool dance moves at the Centennial."
The shoulders. Yep.
He's been reading up on Roger Corby. He read all 234 archaeological medicine papers.
I love how this scene sets up that they could be really good friends, though. Like, they kind of have similar interests and, like, dedication and motivation. And so I think, you know, like, throughout this episode, we kind of see them team up and stuff. But I liked that immediately Corby's like, "Oh, what a cool book. Oh, you read my articles." But, like, it's just kind of awkward, of course. But I don't know. It's kind of endearing.
Chapel has a type. She's into tall, dark, handsome, and science nerd.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the line too when La'an literally forces Chapel into like the most awkward, like professing of what's going on when she asks Corby if he's going to be needing quarters. Like, Chapel's face is excellent. Like, the acting is so funny, and but I love that La'an really forced that out there. You know, she's like, "All right, let's quit dancing around this."
Yeah, I think we were talking before we started recording, and I said, yeah, in that scene, Chapel gives La'an side eyes that are set to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there were lasers coming out, La'an would be vaporized. Bush sells that so well. I love that.
Yeah, I think that was La'an figuring things out like a lot quicker than Spock. But I love the, you know, we were talking about like Scotty being so ADHD coded in the last episode. I like Spock having his own neurospicy coding in this episode. Like he's you know, it's something consistent with his character, but you know, he struggles with picking up on the human emotion stuff, and he does suck at reading the room, and you know, that's has like a big tie into the climax of the story, I suppose. Let's talk about the other stuff that happens before the Trelane appears as the Vulcan bartender. We meet who I assume is also going to be a recurring character this season, Beto Ortegas.
I think so, yeah.
Brother of Erica Ortegas. We have them sparring, and so we learn he's a documentarian, he's a filmmaker. We learn he likes to drink tequila and fight with his sister. And we learn he has the hots for Uhura when she comes in to she's like, "Oh, can you believe it? Our friend Christine is back, and she brought a new boyfriend." And then Beto and Uhura have eyes on each other and seem to take a liking to each other immediately. So they seem like they're going to be cute to watch together.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's just like, yeah, she hates that. Yeah, we're doing this. Let's do this more. And then there's that agreement and joy, and it's good.
I hope they keep this lighthearted and fun. I don't want stupid shit
We don't
with
need
this
Spock
episode.
Chapel.
Like if they
No, we
break
don't need
up,
that.
if they break up or whatever, like let's just
That's fine
say
if it's
like
normal.
a really chill breakup or something. I'm tired of the drama, but like it would be fun to see like Uhura on dates and like having a good time.
Yeah.
She deserves it, and he already
Oh,
looks
yeah.
at her like she's a goddess. And I'm here for that.
Yeah.
And yet another new recurring character. They're dropping a lot of new recurring characters on us in this episode. But
I didn't find the name. I don't know if you got it. Did you?
In sickbay, we meet the new nurse ensign Dana Gamble.
Yep.
Or Dana Gamble, I guess is how they don't say it in the episode, but yeah, on Trek Core they said that's his name. And this is
played by Chris Myers is the actor.
Yeah, he's a very likable dude. He's like, the whole point of this character is like I'm the new nurse in sickbay and everyone likes me. I'm just a cool guy.
I love his banter with Una. Like he's so quick-witted. Yeah. And I love that she was impressed by how fast he was. And I love seeing Mbenga so proud of him. Like Mbenga kind of like has his hand on his chest a little bit as he's kind of like walking away from him. And
this
it's
one's
so
staying,
endearing. Yeah, he likes him. It's really sweet.
Just one little nitpick though, isn't it normally the case that nurses in Starfleet are NCOs and not officers, and this guy's an ensign? I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But I like
a lot of them
too.
have been, but cool. I don't know if we ever heard has to be.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no.
A lot of them are NCOs, but
it's just someone who spends a lot of time unnecessarily concerned with like starship rank structure. It's just something that I'm curious about. But yeah, they also use this scene not only to introduce him, but to explain this is the last, I guess, vial of blood they have to draw out at Una for Batel's treatment. And they talk about that she'll probably be leaving the ship soon, and how not only will they miss her, but so will Pike. And then you have like that shot of their quarters. I guess their quarters. It seems like theirs. Like she's moved in. She has her hairbrush next to his hairbrush. Her coffee cup next to his coffee cup.
Love this same but different theme that they have going here, where it's like the same function, but they're all little different things. And I think that's so sweet. And this is the first time in their whole romantic arc that I believed their romance. Like all they needed to show me were these 3 images. And I'm like, oh, I'm sold. I get it now. And like, I don't know, it took me so long until literally this episode, those 3 images, and then them like hugging and talking very casually and sweet. And I was like, this is the most believable this relationship has been to me the whole show. And I actually like them. And I never thought I would say that ever. So.
Well, also at first it was just a hookup for Batel when the show started. It was definitely not a relationship in that scene. And then Pike slowly gets, and then Batel eventually gets on board, but it's sort of been a weird slow burn. It's not always on screen, but this sells that it happened for sure.
This was so intimate and sweet and caring, and I loved their conversation.
It's weird that they're talking like the way that they're talking. It sounds like she might like move in on the Enterprise. You know, she makes the joke about, like, you know, if I moved you into my quarters on my new assignment, where would all of your hair products fit? But she's, like, shopping for her new assignment. Like, April gave her, here's, like, a dozen different possible commands. Have your pick. And she doesn't want any of them because she doesn't want to be away from Pike. So, I'm not really sure what the plan with her is. But like I was saying, you know, like, if the Gorn are still going to, like, pop out of her, even if it's not Gorn, even if, like, something else ends up killing her, like later in the show or something.
From the Gorn,
like it could be their whole plan was like, okay, we're going to do kind of a bait and switch thing. We're gonna like make you think she's gonna die from the Gorn at the beginning of the season. Then we're gonna make you think like, oh no, look, she's safe, and they're gonna have her be so happy with Pike and be like, look how happy he is now, and then we're actually gonna kill her in a different way and try to actually surprise you instead of telegraphing it early. Like, I don't know, and I'd kind of be okay with that. I mean, I would like, we don't know what her fate is going to be, but like, we know Pike is going to Talos 4 alone to be with Vina. So I don't know what they're going to do with her, but I kind of want it to be something big and surprising, maybe even shocking if they pull it off.
I feel like
we'll see.
Well, she's full of augment blood. She's going to try to take over the Federation. So, and then she gets killed.
This is also important that I think that Battelle knows about Pike's future by this point. They have like one line in there where he talks about being doomed. Like she knows. And I think it's also interesting to put this sweet scene in like a wedding episode, because like a common theme would be like for a serious relationship, if you're at a wedding, you kind of talk about, oh, like, are we gonna get married? You know what I mean? Or like,
it would stir up
vibes,
those feelings of like future commitment. Like that's all things they're thinking, and they've also just like been like living together for 3 months, spending a lot of time together. But yeah, like they do kind of subtly hint in there that like Pike has told her about his future when she's talking about how like she feels like she's living on borrowed time, and he says, preaching to the choir on that one. Which, by the way, like that might be foreshadowing. Like there's still like a 1% chance that like these Gorn babies are gonna pop out of her or something. So maybe that was the hook they put in there that they will eventually circle back to.
And she feels she has to be a single mother and go off and raise them on her own. Yeah.
I really hope not, but yeah.
Just like Hemmer did, okay? Just like Hemmer. He's raising a baby somewhere.
Then we get the scene of Chapel returning the gift to Spock and apologizing for him meeting Corby like that. And we also we get like that scene in the port galley on the way there. Ortega's is kind of freaked out, but also if you look at her face, she thinks it's kind of sweet and cute too. But yeah, like she's reacting to Uhura and Beto getting flirty with each other, which is all played very like youthful and innocent and cute.
Yeah, I like it. I love Uhura's outfit in this too. Her orange like skirt, shirt, groovy combo. Like it is so beautiful on her. Yeah,
it is nice to have like good civilian clothes in Star Trek after the Berman era. It's kind of refreshing to be like,
this whole episode.
All the wardrobe looks really good.
It's like they nail the casual all the way to the formal, like everything in between. Everyone is dressed amazing.
And Roger Corby seems like a pretty likable guy. Like everyone is all excited to meet Chapel's boyfriend in the port galley. Sam is like nerding out, asking him all these archaeological medicine questions. And then Spock shows up and makes it really awkward for everyone.
Yeah. I hate that he interrupts her when she's telling the story about her mom. And he's like, the sun, the moon, the stars. We've all heard this. Like, come on. Like, I wish he had let her have her moment. And I feel like that just further, like, pushes, it gives me, like, confidence. Like, okay, like, they're a terrible match. Like, I'm what am I, like, assured? Like, I have reassurance now that this was a bad match, And, like, I love getting that juxtaposition with Corby whenever she's saying, like, oh, well, he noticed, like, that I was down and, like, took me to go see the sun, the moon, and the stars. And, like, I was like, see, like, he gets it. Like, she needs someone that can, like, kind of, like, anticipate what she needs because she can't say what she needs. And, like, Spock can never be that person for her. And so I love seeing like so clearly in this one scene like how Corby is a much better match for Chapel. Sorry,
they're trying to explain the sorry, I lost my train of thought. But
the switch, how she switches too.
Well, the context for that, she's explaining her mom's final words to her was she said, "I hope you find the sun, the moon, and the stars." And then when she was really sad on this expedition on Vadia 9, Corby figured out like, oh, the reason why you're sad is that today is probably something related to your mom. It turned out it was her mom's birthday. And so he took her on top of this, on Mount Caleb. They were trying to come up with like the most romantic sounding story ever, but like he took her up on top of this mountain that breaks the solar plane where you can actually see the, obviously you'd have to have like a spacesuit to go up there, but you'd be able to see the stars, the moon, the sun, like all at the same time, which sounds pretty cool. So yeah, it was like the most like romantic story ever. And then like Spock stands there and hears all of that. And they talk about like she mentions like, oh, and he gave me like this beautiful Talarian star gem bracelet, and Ortega's who like stepped away when things are starting to get awkward. She's like, "Come on, Beto, help me go get some drinks for everyone." She comes back, and then to break the tension, she says like, "Oh, hey, that's a cool bracelet," or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like draws more attention to it.
And
So,
La'an and Una are like, "This is so rare. Like that's so cool,"
But yeah, I really relate to Spock being like so heartbroken about this stuff, because those are things that I can relate to. Like I have a hard time like reading people, and I kind of so a lot of times I like to communicate the Vulcan way, just like be direct. Like that's even like a line in this episode when Chapel is like, I've never known you to be anything else, but yeah, like just just say it, just communicate it, and he feels like all this shame, all this guilt, all this embarrassment, and about like not being able be able to just pick up on what comes natural to everyone else. And when you feel that way, you get like a lot of like you second guess, you question yourself. You're like, okay, if I don't notice those things, what else am I not noticing? And so I can relate to him when he's feeling down. And then this is when, let's just call him Trelane, or I know Joel, you suggested Q Lane at one point, but like let's just call
Trelane's
this,
gonna be easier, yeah,
or Rhys Darby. We can say Rhys Darby's character. But I love the device here. They show that he appears in the form of a Vulcan. You have this Vulcan face in the reflection in the mirror. And then we pan up to Rhys Darby as a human who looks very
with the same
Trelane,
ridiculous outfit,
Trelane-ish. But he's like an older Trelane who seems more powerful. He looks visibly a little older, but he also seems like maybe even more immature than he was in Squire Gotha. So it's weird to tell if this is supposed to be like like Trelane before the events of that episode, or is it like timey-wimey Q stuff?
I was thinking, Squire is more like he's like a human equivalent of 8. He's obsessed with toy soldiers and stuff. And this is like human equivalent of like 13. He's obsessed with starting to think about, relationships and sort of adult things like that. And if this happened after, I think you could make that work. I'm not saying that is because... But
he seems to know Spock. Like he meets Spock in Squire Agathos, and in fact, like doesn't like Spock. But here he's kind of trying to help Spock out. But like it would make sense if he kind of like came back in time.
Corby too.
Yeah, he hates Corby, and he says like that's the reason why he's doing this is because like he saw Corby and didn't like him. But maybe he's thinking like, oh Spock, you got in the way of my fun with Kirk in the Squire Agathos. So if I can like make you be happy with your love, Nurse Chapel, here in your younger days, maybe that will keep you from getting in my hair down the road. I don't know if that's what he's thinking, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the episode, like it raises too many questions. Like it doesn't really like answer things about Q or the Trelane. It just kind of confuses them. If you ask me, it kind of just makes things more confused. But he is the device they use for this episode to like alter reality. It's the it all starts with like the concoction he mixes up for Spock. I liked his wardrobe too. He has like this very flamboyant wardrobe, but like what he's wearing, it would be like you'd be a very flamboyant Vulcan to wear that, but there's still kind of a Vulcanness to it. Like I could picture this being a Vulcan bartender.
Yeah, there's sort of like Batwing lapels. That part doesn't seem Vulcan, but everything else, like the bow tie, seems very Vulcan.
And they do this kind of neat in-camera effect where you see Spock get in bed, the camera just kind of pans over to him, and then all of a sudden, Chapel is in bed with him as his fiance, and they're just days away from their marriage.
And this was in the trailer too. This is one part we'd seen.
Yeah, so we were wondering if there was going to be like, is it a dream? Is it reality?
Yeah, we didn't think it was real because there's no way.
But yeah, I'm glad that we got like the Rhys Darby stuff so early in the season. I'm wondering if he'll show up again. But yeah, I was wondering like, is he actually going to be Trelane? But now we see it and like, well, I still don't really know exactly what they're doing here. But anyways, they kind of redo the opening where Spock's giving a log entry, except instead of just preparing for the centennial, he's preparing for his wedding. So now La'an's giving him dancing lessons for a very different dance, but for the first dance with the bride at the reception. Trelane is now appearing to be an Endorian wedding planner.
Yes.
So no one gets to look at his face. So when Uhura and Spock see Trelane and Squire Agathos, it makes sense they don't recognize him. So, but yeah, I like that being the quantum leap thing. For people who don't know, Scott Bakula, Star Trek Enterprise, Captain Archer, also did a sci-fi show where he time traveled and would appear in the bodies of different people who would look like their normal self to people around them, but they would be played in the episode by Scott Bakula, and to the audience he would look like Scott Bakula, but if he looked in the mirror he would look like the character that he's. It's kind of weird to explain, but like he would like possess people at different.
He would be wearing their clothes on screen. He'd be wearing some woman's clothes on screen, and it would be Scott Bakula in this ill-fitting dress. But in the mirror, it would be like the actual woman.
There was some occasional cross-dressing in that show. That was a thing.
Occasional, it was like half of them. Yeah.
But so some of those episodes are weird. Like there's one where like he time traveled into. I was like, oh, I'm Lee Harvey Oswald right before he shot JFK. And it's like some weird shit like that. But yeah, it is kind of a Star Trek connection, like Twilight Zone. It's kind of Quantum Leap is Star Trek adjacent. But there's some shenanigans going on with Corby trying to sabotage the wedding. He ruined the food. He ruined the flowers.
Yeah, he's being a menace. I like it. He's stirring the pot.
I didn't think about him ruining the food. I didn't catch that. Yeah.
Flowers. He smirks, and when Trelane looks over to him, and he looks so proud of himself. Corby's like kind of doing this like rocking back and forth thing, like.
Yeah, and he admits to it.
Right.
He admits to it to Spock. He says, "Yeah, that was me. I'm trying to sabotage the wedding." So he knew immediately. He's like, "Wait a minute. Reality has been altered. I remember how things are supposed to be, and they're not supposed to be Chapel marrying her ex-boyfriend Spock." So, but yeah, when you're dealing with apparently a Q with Q-like abilities to revive dead flowers and make instantly new tasty appetizers for the reception. It's a lot harder to foil the plan, I guess.
I love how much Trelane and Corby beef with each other, though. Like, Trelane keeps calling him Mr. Corby, and he's like, "It's Doctor." He's so frustrated.
He hates on.
And Trelane makes Corby best man, like such an insult, and to like let Corby keep his memory, like that's so horrible.
I don't think he let Corby keep his. I think he's like surprised that Corby remembers. It's just that
I took it he did it to torture him.
I thought it was torture. Yeah.
Well, no, they explained that what Corby and Spock eventually figure out. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but it's that their extreme emotions. It was Corby's love for Chapel, and it's Spock's anger at Corby that make like those are like. It kind of implies like those are like the two most intense emotions, which kind of makes sense to me at least. It's like, oh yeah, those are two that easily can go pretty extreme. Yeah. So it's like immediately Corby is like trying to sabotage things because he knows like, yeah, I shouldn't be watching the woman I'm in love with marry her ex that she doesn't want to be with. He breaks into Spock's quarters, and that's when Spock confronts him, and Corby explains like, yeah, this is not how things are supposed to be. Spock doesn't want to hear it, and so Corby tells him, what actually happened is on this fellowship we fell in love. They make the point to say that like she quickly became like the co-leader of what we were doing. She was helping me run the whole thing. It is not
explained that precisely. All he says is she became like an equal. So I still am not a fan.
There's some workplace boundaries things here.
Yeah. I still think it's a little cringe.
I think they were saying like, oh yeah, like she got promoted to like, instead of being my employee, she was like also like a manager.
Promoted to his bed.
Yeah, I don't think it was not.
Well, yeah, that's also it's like, well, why did you promote her to be your equal? Is also still kind of weird, but
no, yeah, it's not good.
I know they're not in Starfleet, so it's not the exact, but
they're working with what they had. Like this was already canon, so they have to work with it. But like, it's still not great.
I think it's okay if people date their coworkers. I'm not.
But that's not like she's like in a fellowship and he's the supervisor.
And, it was an expedition. They weren't in a city just going to work. right? They were in some,
They were
dusty
digging
ruins,
around in
and there
some
was nothing
ruins,
else
I would
around, and
assume.
it's all, oh my god.
But yeah, it's definitely it's still like it still comes off as a little weird, and almost it would have made more sense, I think, in like the 60s when that was like I guess a little bit more like normalized for like oh yeah, like I had a relationship with my professor at college or something. But I kind of think they should have done something more. I don't know. It would have been cool if they came up with something like more creative here, instead of being like, oh yeah, well, like I promoted her to my equal and then got in a relationship with her. But
And we fell in love and went up a mountain, and yeah.
I'm not too.
I broke out my favorite
but...
poem. It's just sort of like, how many times does that usually work? I don't even know.
Mm.
Maybe not. Maybe it's just for Chapel. I don't know, but we don't know either. Either way.
The poem written by a Chilean communist.
Neruda.
That they were. I guess it is like it is a very intense poem. Like Spock is like, damn, that is good. That's some like sexy romantic shit. It pisses me off. His reaction. We saw it in the trailer when he punches Corby, but that kind of makes more sense now. Like, oh yeah, Spock isn't quite in his right mind. That snaps him out of it though. It's like that anger. He says later, it's like a fog is lifted over his head.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why the choice to put Corby and Spock like in bed sleeping next to each other. It's a little weird.
Relief.
And I think shippers. I don't know.
It's because like Corby like was punched unconscious onto the bed, and I think Spock's like, well, what do I do now? He's like, I guess I'll just wait. And like, I think it's kind of cute that he lied next to him because he's like, well,
I'm gonna wait.
You'd think he would like go to sick bay and like get something to like wake him up and make sure like I hope I didn't like injure him or anything.
He's contemplating his life.
To wave over. But...
Yeah, I guess he does. Spock does have like a lot on his mind. He's like, you know what? I kind of need this moment while he's knocked out to just lay here and think about things. But yeah, when you're right, they are kind of similar. Like the two science bros get to work trying to problem solve this, and there's that funny moment when Corby suggests maybe his intellect kept him from being affected before they figure out it's like the emotional thing.
Yeah, that was really funny. And Spock is just like, if anything, it wouldn't be you.
And then they have like the same perplexed eyebrow raise. So
that was good.
Chapel clearly has a type. And they're interrupted by a very, very Trelane moment when Rhys Darby shows up with the wardrobe for Spock to try on, and he drops a greetings and felicitations here. So we also get a tally ho later. So yeah, they're clearly trying to reference Trelane. They're just not willing yet, at least, to like go out there and explain the details on how it's all connected. But there's also a Trelane moment when they leave Spock's quarters and Corby corrects Trelane again when he's like, oh, actually it's Doctor, and then he's like that very childish mocking of him, like it's Doctor, and like whatever. After he leaves the room.
It's fun.
So that little kid Trelane that we see in Squire Agathos. But they go to the science lab set again to do a scan on the ship, and this is when this funny moment when Sam Kirk shows up.
He's like, "Where is Spock? Oh, he's in the lab. I'll just go there." Yeah.
But when he shows up with the wines for Spock to try, and Spock just says, "Whatever this is, I don't have time for it."
Man, Sam really puts up with a lot in this scene.
He's romantic at heart. He wants the wedding.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, Spock's just like insulting him, and he's like, "And nobody likes your mustache."
You have cold feet.
I like the character Sam Kirk, but he annoys the shit out of me. But I like being annoyed by him. But I feel like in real life, like if I worked with this guy, he would piss me off too. Like he would get on my nerves. And like I think it's funny how how all the other characters on the show do seem to get like annoyed with them, like normally Spock, but also the rest of the Gorn captives were mad at him in the last episode. Like, did you really have to say that? Like, as long as we don't get caught by the Gorn, we'll be okay. So, but yeah, Spock is like mean to him. He's just like trying to get him to punch him, just like maybe that'll snap him out of it. And he's saying like,
He's trying to goad him on. Yeah.
Yeah. Your brother is so much smarter than you. Everyone hates your mustache, and your taste in wine fucking sucks. And he just stands there and takes it.
Yeah.
You're so basic at wine. Yeah.
But this is like an example where Spock does understand some social stuff. So he knows like saying these things to him would want, like Sam would in theory want to punch him. So for everyone saying like, oh, Spock doesn't understand that Christine broke up with him, I call BS on that. Like, I feel like he totally understands a lot of the social stuff.
He knows that she broke up with him, and she knows that he said like don't wait for her or anything, but she never said like we will never ever be together in the future. Like she never like
need
ruled
to
it
say
out.
that. Like
to him you clearly do.
Well, she shouldn't have to say that. No,
I agree.
No,
she shouldn't have to.
But
well,
yeah,
it makes Spock a little creepy for me and a little less likable, which is what I have beef with, because I love Spock, and this is like the one arc that I'm just like, man, the more I know about this arc and relationship, like the less I like him, and I hate that. I don't want that.
He grows later from it though.
Yeah. Anyways, poor Sam.
This is edited so weird though. They're called away from Sam in the science lab. Pike says like, come over here. We have something urgent. Turns out it's like a surprise bachelor party. But somehow Sam beats Corby and Spock to Kirk's. I'm sorry, to Pike's quarters. It was either some transporter usage, which they technically shouldn't be able to do site-to-site transport on the 1701 Enterprise, or he like took like a shortcut through the Jeffrey tubes or something to beat Spock there. But
don't they do that in part 1? They site-to-site the Gorn weapons.
Do they? In Hegemony Part 1?
Yeah, the Gorn weapons that are somewhere in the ship.
Oh, yeah, you're right. When
it's weird. It's not a person, so it's not as obvious, but I thought that was kind of odd.
No, that's the headcanon we came up with. It was it wasn't a person. It's just like material.
It also could be that Trelane like snapped his fingers to move Sam. Yeah. He's like, what is this guy doing over here in this new lab? He's not supposed to be there. He's supposed to be at the bachelor party.
I mean, he turns Corby into a bulldog, so Trelane is still like, poking things to get them in place and get his results, it would seem. But in this bachelor party, you see Scotty go from I actually like don't drink to hand me that sorry and brandy. I need it to wash down Pike's Vulcan food.
Yeah,
well, what I think it is. Well, go ahead, Taylor.
I was gonna say like when Spock when Pike hands the thing to the food that he made to Spock, and he's like, "Be careful with that," but then Scotty eats it. I was thinking it's either super duper spicy, or like it tastes so bad, which I think isn't in line with Pike's cooking. So no, but it causes him to grab something to drink.
Yeah, what it is like Vulcan food is very bland. So this is just my theory on it. But like we know Vulcan food is bland. We know that Pike likes to make a little non-traditional Vulcan food, maybe like spice it up a little bit. Like we saw that in Charades in season 2. And just my own experience with British people, but they can't handle spicy food. Maybe like a little better now that there's like, more Indian food over there in the UK. But for the most part, like Brits don't like spicy food. Sorry, but y'all have some sensitive palates. So I think this Scottish boy like, this Vulcan food that really needed to be kicked up a notch that, a lot of people would appreciate. This guy couldn't handle. They had to wash it down with some sorry and brandy, and it's very sad if this, silly episode actually like, one of these beloved Star Trek characters becomes an alcoholic, like just like knowing people who've struggled with addiction. It's like, it's kind of a weird thing to
it's because of Pike's
to make
cooking.
fun of, but but yeah, it's kind of I'm kind of torn. Like I think it's kind of cute and funny, but I also think it's questionable tastes.
Yeah.
Well, they have questionable tastes on many things, so.
That's true. So at this point, Corby and Spock decide to scan the ship for any extra personnel who's not an invited guest, who's not part of the crew. That's a little dodgy to me. That's like, wouldn't the wedding planner be like part of the people you were expecting to be there. But yeah, they're like, okay, there's this one extra person who shouldn't be here on board. He's in the port galley, and this is when Spock figures out, like, oh, you were also that bartender.
Well, maybe there's a real wedding planner asleep in a closet somewhere too, because
an Andorian wedding planner.
No, but there wasn't a real wedding. That wouldn't make sense either. I don't know. It's hand waving no matter what.
But this is when Trelane starts to get dangerous. You know, like he gets kind of angry when they won't play along, and this is very Q-like from Tapestry, when Q was in bed with Picard, but Spock wakes up in bed again. It's like the third time we've seen him start his day, but this time it's next to Trelane, who also traps him in a glass and says he has his own Vulcan terrarium. Terrarium is the name of an upcoming season 3 episode.
Episode 9 or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, is Trelane going to come back in that? Or is it going to be something totally separate, different, divorced from this? And I'm just assuming that because I want Trelane, I want Q-Lane resolution. I want to know more about that.
They certainly leave it so there's easily he can come back this season and do something. And pointing out that word terrarium, because they didn't need to say that. They could just put him in a glass. That's fine. The visual works. But pointing it out, and then I think there's something going on.
Well, let's talk about the wedding. The big day is here. Beto is filming with his drone camera. So I guess now he's like documenting the wedding. And I guess there's also like other centennial things going on. It would be kind of a cool wedding date, by the way, to be like, oh yeah, this only happens, once every 100 years. It's the century anniversary of the Federation. What a convenient day to get married on, I guess. I can see people making that choice.
I'll remember my anniversary.
Yep. Yeah. I like Ortega's in the dress uniform. All the other Enterprise ladies, I think, have a dress. Some of the men have some very fancy wedding wardrobe. Some of them are in Starfleet uniform. Like, I love putting Scotty back in the kilt that looks like the TOS kilt.
Yep,
they did great with that. And then Corby's, I think, ridiculous outfit as the maid of honor.
So
that is like such like an insulting move to be like, not only am I going to make you watch someone else marry your wife, but you're going to be you're not even like a groomsman in the wedding. That would be an insult. But I'm going to make it even worse. I'm going to make you the maid of honor. Is kind of not to say like I like how when Chapel referred to him as a best man. Like I think that's fine if a woman gets married and has I want like a dude friend to be my person instead of a maid of honor if I want a best man. But
not since I was going to just say not since Chekhov for the Search for Spock has there been an outfit this bad.
But I think some people could pull it off. I think it's not for Corby. I don't think I could pull it off, but I think some people could get away with this.
I think it's very fun. You know who would pull this off? The kids from Discovery. The Trill guy.
Gray?
Yeah. Just like
I can see that.
Elfin with this beautiful flower crown. Yeah.
If you had a different bow tie,
majestic in it.
It's the bow tie that makes it all the worse.
The big ridiculous bow tie is
it looks so
fun.
Cute. I think Corby looks good in this, in my opinion.
I think he looks clownish. I think he looks maybe it's just like his demeanor. Maybe it's just because like he looks like...
It's the way he's holding himself, though. Yeah. If he was confident in this outfit, he would be great. Like, he looks good. It fits him well. But he doesn't like it. It's not his style. If he was into it, he would be rocking it. It's about your body confidence and your...
If he was into it, Trelane would change it again.
Yeah. But everyone in this scene, everyone looks so good. My favorite outfits. I love Mbenga's and Sam's.
Yeah, they're really good.
So beautiful. Like, I love that dark green and blue that is on. I think that might be my favorite for sure. But yeah, also like seeing the kilt on Scotty.
What do you think of the green dress that Chapel wears?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this look. But I think it's an impressive dress. Like, I think it's really cool looking, but not what I would imagine as a wedding dress. But
it didn't scream like obviously bride to me when I saw it. But
yeah,
I guess 23rd century fashion. It might be commonplace.
that
there,
kind of
but
stuff changes. I mean, that part is just
to a 21st century audience. I probably would have gone with something a little bit more like instantly recognizable as like Wedding Bride, but whatever. I'm nitpicking. The
but
wardrobe
it fits
is
in
pretty
with
phenomenal.
Centennial Day so well. Maybe I don't know.
Green is such an off color too for like Star Trek because the main colors are like red, yellow, and blue.
Yeah,
and so you get like
primary.
like all these like green in this episode. It's so out of series, I guess, or like out of Star Trek. It just feels a little weird to see all this green.
But I was really moved by how Spock kind of saves the day here at the end.
He figures it out. Yeah.
Yeah, after he figures out that like, oh, like these big emotions, like that's what breaks the spell. You know, when I can connect someone back with like that feeling of love or like that feeling of anger. And so he, in his wedding vows, he actually reads the poem that he learned about from Corby, that Corby used to win Chapel's heart the first time. And so Spock kind of having to, you know, fall on his sword and like, you know, like give her up and give her back to Corby. But he does it because it's like the right thing to do. And it sounds like he does believe that she'd be better off with Corby. But it's not so much that he believes in Corby. It's because like his doubt in himself when he says the person for her must be able to be a safe harbor, not be his own emotional storm. You know, it sounds like he's being like very like self-critical. But yeah, he's basically saying like, yeah, you need someone who can pick up on the nuances of human behavior that go over my head. So you need a type of guy who would like read this poem to you, and that's what makes her remember. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be getting married to that dog over there. And Trelane's like, no, he's a dog.
I love how when he turns into the dog has the little blue suit on, and then Sam's holding the leash next to the dog.
Sam has like some good like facial reactions to the dog. It's like, oh yeah, those actors have like some good on-screen chemistry. I really bought it.
Oh, it's good. And this is about the time too when Corby makes a reference to Trelane zapping people off to the cornfield. Another Twilight Zone reference.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
to the famous one with what's his name? Our Trek actor from DS9.
Bill Mummy, right?
Bill Mummy, yeah. He was the boy in the cornfield.
He's also
he wasn't in the cornfield. He sent people to the cornfield, yeah.
Man, this is connected to so many 20th century sci-fi shows that Taylor has no idea what we're talking about.
It's actually funny because I remember I turned to you and I was like, oh, cornfield, is that like Silence of the Lambs or something? And you were like, I don't know. And I was like, I'll wait until Friday. Joe will know.
That's what I'm here for. No, yeah, there's a lot of Twilight Zone in this one, and the cornfield is, of course, extremely famous from that. So yeah, if you watch 10 episodes, that would be one of them. The most
Rachel in the live audience is pointing out that when Trelane turns Corby into the dog, you do hear someone go, "Ah!" But yeah, every time I watch it, I chuckle at that. Yeah, he has a cute bulldog.
He rocks the outfit better than Corby as a human.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a dog. They're so cute.
Do you know what's lame in this episode though? Is that the resolution is like, Trelane goes crazy. He's like, okay, I'm gonna start killing all of you. I'm gonna kill you with the crown, trying to outshine the bride. I'm gonna kill you, blue-faced Bolians. Like, didn't you see I'm wearing blue in my Endorian disguise? And then John Delancey voiced Green Energy Ball. We have Q actor playing Trelane's Green Energy Ball parent we saw in Squire of Gothos show up here. I just realized they should have got Susie Plaskin to be the mom. That's a missed opportunity.
Yes, that would have been so great.
But it's the same fucking ending as Squire of Gothos. It's like, this all-powerful god that's about to kill us. Turns out it's not that big of a deal. His parents are just going to come and send him to his room.
Yep.
So that was lame. Like, you can never end a Trelane story like this again, because you've already done it twice.
Just like no more putting the enemy to sleep in a two-parter. We've done that twice. We got
two rinse and repeat stories.
Both of these episodes got the resolution from the old episode of Star Trek that inspired them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Y'all got to be a little bit more creative with these endings, y'all. But it was funny to have some of the dialogue between Rhys Darby and John Delancey, and John Delancey being like, yeah, he's only a child, only 8,000 years old. And then Rhys Darby being like, 8,020, Dad. It felt very,
just
very
so
realistically child. It's very much in line with how William Campbell played little kid Trelane acting childish at the end of Squire of Gothos.
Yep.
So great casting. I loved Rhys Darby as this character. He's just like
he knocked it out of the park.
So watchable. So many funny moments. Like when he tells Roger Corby, like, please tell me you're not going to wear that to the wedding, Corbs. Like he calls him Corbs. Then he prances away. Like Taylor was pointing out, like, oh, he's so proud of that insult.
Oh, and when he like places the flowers to fix the flowers, he like kicks his leg up. Like it's so cute. He's
very showy.
Yeah, it's really fun, and he nails the Trelane, like, I don't want to go and I can do what I want. Like he's nailing like the beats of those so well.
But John Delancey, Q, Energy Ball, whatever, which might get explained better someday, might always be confusing to me. He does turn Corby back into his human form. By the way, whenever they do these things, and like even with like the finger snaps and everything, they never do the Q white flash from the Berman era. Instead, they do like the TOS style where things just appear or disappear. It's just like that sudden. So they kind of combined both styles. But we find out that Spock asks Trelane, like, why did you do all this? And he's like, oh, I saw this guy digging around on the home world, so handsome and perfect, and it just pissed me off. And Spock was like, I get it. That makes absolute sense. So, I like that. It is showing a flawed, immature side of Spock, but I liked it. I liked him having those rough edges. But Trelane turns into an energy ball and leaves with his pops. And Pike gives an awkward speech. You know, he loves to give speeches, but
it's so good.
He wasn't prepared for this one.
Yeah. Something I just realized is maybe Trelane is mad at future Spock because he's like, why aren't you as fun as you were when you were young? Like, you used to agree with me.
Oh. Yeah, maybe that's the way it lines up. It'll be interesting how Squire of Gothos plays. By the way, if people missed it, we did a backtracking retrospective on the Squire of Gothos a few weeks ago because we were pretty sure it would come up this season. So
that's why I have the sign. Yep.
I'm glad that we covered Arena as well, the original Gorn episode. So and
we watch Best of Both Worlds tomorrow, so we'll have a full trifecta.
We also did a recent backtracking retrospective on What Are Little Girls Made Of to get some Roger Corby context. So I feel like we were watching all the right episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should have watched more TAS because we also get an Adosian bartender, Kelsing, according to the captions, who I guess is invited.
Not Eric's.
But she's invited to be the bartender in the port galley on the ship now. So we're going to have a recurring Adosian. I'm wondering if
Eric's her cousin? And she says, oh, the Enterprise is great.
Don't make all Adosians related, though. That's kind of like...
That's specious of me. Yeah, something else.
That's a little
I'm just trying to work it up to Eric's because, he comes early.
I'd like an Eric's appearance. Yeah, he could show up. But I wonder if we will ever see Kelsing from the waist down and we see the 3 arms. Will we ever see the 3 legs?
Is the arm in the wrong spot? I have a lot of the third arm was supposed to come from the front.
Out of the middle of the chest. Yeah, instead of like out of
Eric's
her back.
Is portrayed that way. But who knows? They can turn their head way around too, I think.
That's what that's
okay.
So that's something we're not quite like humans where our head is, just
it's like the juggler in Spy Kids, the juggler roller coaster, and like the head stays the same but the arms spin all the way around. I don't know if anyone's seen that. But that's
Rachel has. I don't know if anyone else in our audience watches Spy Kids because most people are older. Most people in our audience are older demographic. But if I'm wrong, please let me know. Please correct me. We have Scotty ordering some Guinness at the bar. 2 pints of Guinness. Jill in the live audience is pointing out that it wasn't poured the correct Irish way, or the correct Guinness way. If you go to like the Guinness Museum in Dublin, Ireland, they'll like teach you how to pour it correctly, or you get like the nice head on the top of it. But
If there's one thing that should be the same, is the Guinness glasses should be the same. Those are just straight. You need the one with the little bubble on the side.
Also at the wedding, they invited back the Zebra Man from the episode Spock Amok that Spock negotiated with. I'm pretty sure it's the same actor, and maybe it's not, but I think it's like supposed to be like the same dude.
It looked like it, but I didn't.
It could be another member of that species, but I like the idea of like oh yeah, Spock invited that guy.
He's a diplomat, so
he negotiated with it. Well, yeah, Spock eventually has like a career in diplomacy post Star Trek VI, so I guess it's I guess we see Spock having some diplomatic tendencies here. Like he becomes friends with this diplomat, so who at the bar is meeting Mbenga for some reason. But yeah, this is kind of casual chit chat at a wedding, I guess. You're the Enterprise doctor. Nice to meet you. But yeah, I was just thinking, Taylor, you said that if Corby carried himself in the blue suit, he wouldn't have seemed as clownish to me. And I was thinking, like, he does seem kind of like normal at the end when he has that conversation with Chapel at the bar. But just looking at some of the freeze frames I have now, I am realizing, like, oh, he's actually no longer in that wardrobe. So.
And I actually don't super love his outfit change. This is like the most boring outfit of the whole episode. I mean, it's not bad, but it's bland, you know? And I feel like Corby had some interesting layers and colors before this, like even before he got Trelaned. And I don't know, this one just kind of seemed a little bit. Maybe he just needed like 180 degrees. Like he was like, I was way too decked out before. I need like a fresh slate.
I kind of feel sorry for Chapel. I think this would be so weird and awkward and embarrassing to be like, oh, I was at like this fake wedding that I was brainwashed to participate in. And all these people were brought here for my fake wedding. And I'm just going to stand here in this like ridiculous Halloween costume wedding dress. It's not even like, none of this is real. It's just, I feel like it would just be so awkward. But I don't know, maybe she's just like, oh, I can roll with this. It's not that big of a deal.
That's what she says, though. Next,
I read it that everybody was there already for the centennial party. But then when Trelane came to mess everyone's memories up, he was like, just kidding, y'all are here for a wedding. But they were still physically there. And maybe that's why like Amanda isn't there, is because she wasn't there for the centennial.
Amanda, yeah, she wasn't there for the centennial. But this like Zebra Man ambassador
would have been there for the centennial. Because it's like, oh, we're new to the Federation. So I think it's like it's like the guests were just collateral of like who was already there. Like,
that makes sense. Yeah, no, I buy all that. Yeah, because it's like, who invited these Andorians? Like, are these Chapel's friends? Or these Spock's friends? Like, I ain't never seen y'all before. So, no, I love what you're saying, Taylor. The final
and right after that bar scene, Chapel just says, let's go dance and never talk about this ever.
Yeah. Oh, we get that final conversation between Spock and Lon. So I love how supportive of Spock she's being in this episode. My only concern is that, you know, with them kind of softening Lon, like post Gorn trauma, it does seem like they are gonna, like, you know, let her hair down and be like a little bit more relaxed and casual and fun and lighthearted and not as serious and dire all the time, which makes me happy for her. I don't want them to do too much of that and kind of lose the character that we've had for 2 seasons. And it's also very similar to what they've done with Una, who kind of started off, you know, especially like if you watch like her appearances in Discovery in the original series, you know, she's a little bit more of a hard edge character. And then like they gave her, you know, a whole arc with her wanting to, you know, stop hiding her Illyrian identity and kind of come out of the closet with that and be, you know, publicly genetically engineered. And they kind of like softened her character a lot. And so I almost kind of feel like Una could have done like the same arc in this episode, and she would have been really great at being like supportive of Spock and also like teaching him to dance and stuff. They kind of had like that musical connection already from the short trek when they were stuck in the turbo lift. And it would have had a kind of a maternal vibe to it almost, with like his
mentorship. Yeah, not necessarily maternal.
But but kind of like parental, kind of like an elder helping like someone
advisor,
like younger than them.
Like a friendly.
But mentor, that works too. Yeah. So I'm kind of torn on this. The show often kind of struggles to give Una something big to do other than like her like, you know, court trial episode. So I kind of feel like Una could have done this stuff. However, as someone who like has spent so much time feeling sorry for Luan and wanting her to be happier. I am happy to see her get some lighthearted material. I'm just kind of worried that like, oh, is she going to be doing a lot of things that could have gone to Una, or like, oh, are they going to soften her too much? Just concerns to keep in my head as I watch the rest of season 3.
I think that they're going to put her into a mentorship role for Ortegas, like as she's going through like this Gorn PTSD. I'm sure that we're gonna have La'an like have to step up and teach more, and she's gonna grow with her empathy, I think. But I do think we're still gonna have that very serious, like matter of fact La'an. But it's just, I think they are gonna have her open up more and be
that'll be her norm, but she'll have like more range beyond
right.
And
that.
setbacks are normal, so I mean she won't always be this necessarily happy-go-lucky. Just that life does that, right? So
yeah. And then everyone dances to the Wham song at the end, which made it feel like a real wedding, I guess. Is like
yeah
a celebration.
Scotty very much enjoys drinking now. We see him toasting and Benga as they dance the night away. We have Beto and Uhura. There's some Andorians getting jiggy
dancing with Sam
on the dance floor.
I love Sam and the Andorians.
You have the no mouth alien that Trelane insulted is there.
Trelane likes the no mouth alien.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is true. Like complimented.
Everyone else died. He's like, no, you can live. I like you.
I liked Battelle being like, "You're way too corny, Pike," and kind of like like leaving him on the dance floor. And, his reactions, but the one person not having a good time is Erica.
Yes.
And Pike
her arm
notices,
is healed, but not her mind. Yeah.
Yeah, she got her hand back, but her mind is still a little injured. Pike notices when she leaves, though, so I like that. Oh yeah, he's a very
he's observant. Yeah,
he's an observant leader.
Kirk is like that too, so it's kind of cool to
to
see that from your captain.
And she goes to the punching bag in the workout room and punches furiously. And then this bothers me the most out of everything in the episode, though, is the shot of the Gorn in the window.
It's actually Trelane appearing as a Gorn. No, wait.
I mean, like we had that peekaboo shot of Trelane earlier. So yeah, that is kind of annoying. They're using like the same
thing for
two very different things in the same episode. So I think that's bad storytelling. But I also don't want like a Gorn PTSD subplot, especially like the other character in modern Star Trek who really identified as like, I'm the pilot of the ship, was Detmer in Discovery, who also had like that PTSD storyline. So it's incredibly similar to that. So yeah, these two episodes, if they're lacking anything, if season 3 is lacking anything thus far, it is the Strange New of Strange New Worlds. It's these two episodes have some very derivative material in them. Even though I did like this one quite a bit, but I am worried about the future Gorn storyline or future PTSD storyline. But
it's kind of like It Follows, just like, you know, they had an adventure on a Gorn ship, and then like the Gorn trauma is now with another person because of it.
Yeah, it's like we fixed Lon's Gorn trauma, but now
because it went wholly to Ortegas. So.
But maybe that's something that, like, you know, La'an will be able to
deal with.
Work with Ortegas, and we know that she has, like, you know, war issues also from like the
she wasn't in hand-to-hand combat in the war, but she could still have PTSD from piloting and shooting and being shot at. Yeah,
but she really did not like having to meet the Klingon ambassador and Under the Cloak of War. In A Quality of Mercy, she really did not like Romulans. So,
that's true.
We'll see what happens, though. So I will, I guess, watch with my eye on Ortegas. So I'm hoping we don't have too much weird, miserable Ortegas PTSD. I'm hoping that we don't have a lot more Gorn stuff. I'd like to just kind of drop that. I think it's at a good point to drop it. And I'm also like hoping we get some more explanations on Q and Trelane. I don't know if I'm going to get any of those things.
Getting Trelane back would be the one thing I want back out of all those,
I'm excited to see the rest of season 3, though. I think I knew I wasn't going to like the season opener, so I got that past me. I had a much better time with Wedding Bell Blues, as I keep saying. And even with some complaints with that episode, I'm very eager to see the remaining 7 episodes. I'm not too excited about the 4.5 Vulcans or whatever the hell is going on there, but
yeah, they could make it work, but I'm doubting that. But
and then after this season, I still get 16 more. So
that's right.
But yeah, if either y'all have any more thoughts on Wedding Bell Blues?
I think we covered it. I got all the Twilight Zone stuff and all the tally-ho-ness of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really am excited about the new characters. It's usually the opposite for me. Like if someone introduces a new character and I'm like, ugh, like I don't want to have to learn
Cousin
a new
Oliver.
character. Yeah, and like actually with the 3-ish, I mean I'm counting Corby. I feel like he counts as a newish character.
Sure, yeah.
Like the new nurse, the bartender, Corby, and even if we count Trelane, like the 4 characters.
Beto.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, and Beto. So I feel like every single one of them, I'm actually excited for more of them, and I can't believe that there's 5 of them that I'm like, oh, I want to see more. Like usually,
and
I
you like
feel
Battelle more, so we still have a lot more Battelle this season,
Yeah.
I think. So
I'm pleasantly surprised with the characters in this episode. Like I'm excited for more. Is the bottom line.
Very cool. And yeah, this is one of the most watchable casts. I was gonna say of Star Trek, but just like of TV in general. I love these characters. I love these actors. So, if anything, a lot of my complaints are oh, you're not exploring this character enough. So, yeah, definitely a lot to be excited for. Some things to be cautious about, but yeah, looking forward to continuing this ride for the next several weeks. We're gonna be doing deep dive discussions for 1 episode at a time going forward, so that makes it a lot easier, a lot less work on
yes,
for us.
yeah.
It's a lot less to ask our audience to listen to also. So thanks for hanging in there with us for over 2 hours. But
we did pretty good. We didn't hit 3 or anything, so.
Y'all heard us talk about these episodes a lot. You know what we think about them. Please comment and let us know your thoughts on Hegemony Part 2 and Wedding Bell Blues. You can comment on YouTube. You can comment on Spotify. You can reply to my post on social media. You can join the Tex-Trek Discord server. Links wherever you are watching or listening to this. You can chat with us there and tell us your thoughts. We don't have time for subspace transmissions this week, but next week we might share some things. We've already gotten some responses on these episodes, so we'll be sharing those next week when we talk about Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 3, Shuttle to Kinfori. So we'll be going to Kinfori Friday with a deep dive discussion, but also on Thursday, Rachel and crew will have a first reaction stream. So check that out. And also, I don't know if anyone gives a shit, but there's like a new Superman movie that just came out that was like really popular, really well liked. And I do a Superman podcast on Mondays called The Supermaniacs. If you're searching for it, be sure to type in The Supermaniacs. But yeah, check that out and let me know what you think. We're going to be spending a lot of time talking about that new movie. So if you've seen that and you want to hear a Superman nerd talk about it, find The Supermaniacs on Monday.
It's very good.
It is good.
Thank you. But we will call it a night with all that. We'll be back next week for the shuttle to Kinfori. I guess we're going to Kinfori. And until then, as always, live long and prosper, y'all.
Subscribe to YouTube to watch the Tex-Trek podcast live or listen to us later on your favorite podcast platform. Follow Stephen Fothery on socials at TXTrek. Thank you and take care.